Hello, everyone. This is the Atheist Ranger. This is the June sub hangouts. We're here with me, Patrick Thacker, also known as Secular Lobster, but he's kind of combing his hair right now. We have we have Mr. Santa Claus lookalike, or as we all know him as Heavy Holler. And gracing us with her presence tonight is Miss BionicDance. She is the first. She has graced us with our presence. This is her first time on my channel. Nice to have you.
Glad to be here.
And of course, we have my very lovely co-host from Packard Pokesat, Matt Gilmore. You're muted, Matt.
Hello, everybody.
And of course, we have the almighty, all-knowing Prometheus the Prophet.
How's it going, everyone?
Going well. And Jesus Christ, I mean, this month has been just fucking crazy for, I'm assuming everyone in here lives in the U.S., so it's just been one crazy-ass month. But I definitely want to talk about, because I think we touched on it a little bit before the broadcast, the Cortez victory, which was just freaking awesome. I'm glad that we have another Democratic socialist in Congress.
Well, hopefully this will give some people on the left a reason to think that perhaps a new direction is warranted after all.
Yes.
Hear that, Nancy Pelosi?
And Debbie Washman Schultz, I mean, she was just flat out lying to herself.
I mean, like, I've never liked her and her attitude, but one thing that's weird that just makes it so much worse is that she has the exact same hair as this girl from my elementary school, Suzanne Bellinson, who I hated her so much, and she has exactly the same hair. So I see Nancy Pelosi, I see her just in my head. I can't help it. It just makes me grind my teeth extra hard. That's all.
I mean, I don't see how Debbie Washman Schultz is even doing anything. As far as I'm concerned, she should be in jail for what she and Hillary did to Bernie.
There is that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I think the only names I've heard thrown around when it comes to 2020 run, sorry, speech impediment, I think is Cory Booker, which, I mean, he's just as corporate Democrat as Hillary is.
Mm-hmm. And then there's Kirsten Gillibrand, who's another one.
I've heard that name. I don't know much about her.
Yeah, she recently came out and supported the abolition of ICE, but she's kind of like a Hillary Clinton-esque type of candidate.
Okay, well, I just wish the fucking Democrats would just learn their fucking lesson. Stop running people like Hillary. That clearly didn't work the fucking first time.
Mm-hmm.
What is wrong with you people?
Well, and the thing is, like, they keep acting like somehow this was a misogynistic, hate her because she's a woman thing. But how many people were screaming for Elizabeth Warren to run? How many people who didn't vote for Hillary voted instead for Jill Stein? She cannot legitimately say it's because she's a woman.
No, it's because she's Wall Street's bitch. That's why.
Yeah.
I mean, how much money did Hillary get from Goldman Sachs? Like over $1 million?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and of course, Donald Trump went to certain places that Hillary Clinton just wouldn't go, like Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, she did not go to any of the flyover states, the Rust Belt, any of that.
Yep.
No, this just reminds me because, I mean, I've been against it almost like the entire time I've been getting involved in politics, which was in high school. I'm completely against the Electoral College, and quite personally, and this may sound like a dumb thing to say, Donald Trump is a living example why we need to get rid of the Electoral College.
Send it back to electoral high school.
No.
I'm sorry, what was that, Kate?
Oh, I was making a bad joke. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
You were saying about the Electoral College, but that's with every president. I mean, that happened with was it back in 2004 when who was the Democrat? John Kerry. Yeah, John Kerry was running against Bush, and how he lost. I mean, it was close, but the Electoral College took over.
Well, I think
that one was Gore. That was
Bush.
Right.
The first time was Gore. The second time was Kerry.
Right.
Hmm.
And of course, we have Mr. Orange Orangutan separating families at the border. And of course, we have the idiots on Fox News saying that they're just summer camps, which aggravated the fuck out of me.
Summer camps, huh?
Yeah. Like
we've seen the pictures. There's no way that's summer camp. I've been to summer camp. That's not it.
Yeah, so was I. I'm like, what summer camp did you people go to?
Putting kids in cages is not summer camp.
Yeah. Yeah, even Stick, Sex, and Hammer called bullshit on that.
No, like
what now?
Stick, Sex, and Hammer, this right-wing YouTuber, he called bullshit on that.
Oh, no, never heard of him.
Yeah, he's this guy with like long hair, lanky-looking face. He's a supposed pagan and like a hardcore libertarian, but he's like pretty much a Trump apologist at this point.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, my friend Heretic Woman says she's on her way. I would definitely love to get her in here because
oh, cool.
Because with all this trade war going on, and I would definitely love to get her input on our once again the orange orangutan insulting Trudeau. Pardon me if I'm not fucking up his name.
Who, Trudeau or the orange orangutan?
No, Trudeau. No, yeah, Trump, I think, insulted Trudeau, which is, I believe he's the Prime Minister of Canada.
Yeah.
I think the orangutans have filed a lawsuit to not be associated with, I could be wrong. I'm not sure.
Oh. Yeah, I guess that is an insult to orangutans.
It's getting to a point now. There's a movement in California called CalExit, which is basically saying that California ought to secede and become its own country. And I kind of hope it succeeds, honestly. Granted, it'll probably result in a big-ass war if it did. But at the same time, I've been kind of wanting to get out of this country for a while. I was actually chatting with a friend of mine recently about what it's like in New Zealand, for example. But, well, we'll see what happens, I guess.
Yeah.
Give it one more election.
Yeah.
Now, I have a few Canadian followers here on YouTube and on Google Plus, and I was asking them, hey, what does it take to immigrate there? They told me that I have to have at the very least, $30,000 saved up. I'm like, okay, I'm never going there.
I'd like to a follow-up question to just. I'm curious. If California does secede from the union, okay, I was born in California, Southern California. If they secede from the union, does that take away my American citizen? Would I still be an American citizen or?
Probably.
I mean, these are things you'd have to think about. I mean,
I'm officially a resident of California right now, where I used to be a legal resident of Seattle and Seattle, Washington State. And then prior to that, a legal citizen of Vermont. I figure if you've moved somewhere and you've gotten a license there and you own property there, chances are good you're not a California resident anymore and thus would still be a United States citizen if California seceded.
I sure hope so, because I'd hate to have to take that immigration test.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't think you'd have to do that because you're already an American citizen anyway.
Yeah, but if California secedes for the union, right, then wouldn't that negate my United States citizenship? Because it was
you still live in California? Or are you out of California?
Well, I was born and raised, and so nation of it would now be my nation of birth, which wouldn't be part of the United States.
Well, but it was at the time. I think retroactively it won't suddenly change that you were not a United States citizen at the time of your birth, which I think
your grandfather did.
Yeah, basically.
I'm about that age,
And what about the American citizens that are born in California, but they live somewhere else? Is that?
Well, that's what we were just talking about. That's what. Yeah.
Oh, okay. There was also another thing about the California being voted to split into 3 different states. That
one's idiotic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, that makes no sense at all. Especially since even if it happened, my state wouldn't get like Hollywood, and that sucks.
Yeah, I think you'd be surprised how many Vermonters actually hope that one day Canada, like Vermont will, I guess, secede, and then like Canada will take us. I'm like, that's not going to happen.
So
well, and the problem with that is the part of Canada that Vermont is attached to is Quebec. Ugh. But I mean, a lot of people have been like, hey, it'd be great if Canada absorbed just the entire West Coast, Washington, Oregon, and California, just all in one big swoop. I'd happily be Canadian in that fashion.
We'll take you.
Can you take Vermont too, Heretic?
I'll take anybody. That's you know.
Oh, you would.
Anybody who's not like a Republican, you know, nutcase. That's fine.
By the way, Heretic, I'm glad you're in here. What do you think about our orange orangutan president insulting your prime minister?
Does he not know that Justin Trudeau boxes other politicians? Like literally.
Well, wait, he literally boxes.
No, Justin Trudeau actually has an education.
That too. No, when Justin Trudeau was just leader, I think he was leader of the Liberal Party before the Liberals were in power. He actually had a charity boxing match against another senator and kicked his ass.
Oh, I wish we would have that here. Oh, that would be so funny.
Oh yeah, it was news, like national news, and there's picture, like most of the people who are like, oh my god, Justin Trudeau is hot. That comes from the promo pictures of when he was gearing up for this boxing match, and it's probably close to 10 years ago now. So he was like in his 30s.
Oh, dude, I would love to see Donald Trump and Bernie Sanders in the ring.
Oh gosh, that would be horrible.
That would be awesome. I mean, bad for them, but entertaining.
Well, okay, sure.
Here, I got some screen grabs here for you. This is the one that everybody likes to show. So, yeah. And Justin's got tattoos as well.
Wow, nice. He looks like a decent welterweight.
This is the senator that he boxed. So that's, I forget, 2012. Okay, so it wasn't that long ago. Senator Patrick Brazeau. Oh yeah, and here's another good one.
Oh nice.
So yeah, Orangina needs to brush up on his training a little bit if he's going to get anywhere, I think.
Well, no, if he's going to get anywhere, he needs to stop with these fucking trade wars, which is decimating farmers, and as well, I think even GM. General Motors has even said something to Trump, like, you know, stop with the trade wars. You're fucking killing us.
Yeah. Well,
Harley Davidson's moved out.
I haven't had a chance to look at the list, but yesterday, our I think it was Minister of International Affairs or whatnot announced a list of sanctions that we are now going to impose on the U.S. based on what Trump has done to us. And like I said, I haven't had a chance to look at them, but the headlines that I've seen indicate that they might be pretty devastating. So it's not looking.
Oh, damn. By the way, to you know, my audience, the people watching, sorry for that noise. That is my fan. It is 90. No, sorry, not 90. It is 86 degrees in my room, and I have no intention of turning that off. So
it's nasty, hot, and humid here.
I can't hear it. So don't worry.
Yeah, I don't hear it either.
It's wicked hot.
All right, awesome.
Yeah, I hate to say we've rather unfortunately picked a bad time for this because right now Godless Cranium is interviewing Dr. Richard Carrier live. So we're probably in competition. Just saying.
All right.
Oh, that's fine. Like I said, it wasn't my intention to do this on the last day of the month, but I've been going through a lot of financial crap with in fact, so much financial crap that it starts with the B word. Yeah.
So, Richard Carrier getting around today. He was with Emperor Atheist earlier.
Yeah. I should see if I can get him on my channel. I am Facebook friends with him. I've hung out with him at conventions. I should do that.
You totally do it. He's done my show. He's pretty amiable in that way.
Oh, yeah. Nice fellow.
Remind me again, is he a physicist or a biologist?
Historian.
Historian, okay.
Yep. He's the most, I would argue, the most well-known Jesus mythicist. He's published the most about it.
Oh, okay. Yes. Now he. I mean, I knew the name. I just forget what he was for.
That's fine. There's lots of very learned folks that we all talk about, and sometimes they get mixed up. Understand?
Gotcha. Okay, Matt. We'll see in a bit. So, what is everyone's take on the, I think the Sarah Huckabee Sanders incident?
Oh, that.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny.
I did too.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to make a gay wedding cake, but then when you get kicked out of a fucking restaurant, just being her.
Thank you. That was my contention the entire fucking time. I'm like, first of all, to the people on the right, you sit here and say, oh, well, someone shouldn't have to serve a cake or provide any service based on moral objections. But when it happens to you, you want to sit here and cry fucking crocodile tears.
Yep. And they go and throw shit at the restaurant, and they picket it, and they send death threats. But when it's them being a dick to somebody else, oh, that's okay. That's just
how many times have I told you they're persecuted? They're persecuted every day. Just right now, I can feel the war on Christmas coming. We just got finished with the war on Easter. They're taking God out of everything these days.
Well, I mean,
and it's a shame.
They keep saying, like, oh, this is persecution of. I mean, they actually tried to say it was a racial thing at one point, and someone posted this thing. They're like, this is not about the color of her skin, but the content of her character. And that's exactly it, because she is Trump's official liar. And people were like, we don't hold with your behavior, get out. It had nothing to do with the fact that she's a woman, had nothing to do with the fact that she's white, but the right is trying to play it up like that was totally the motivation, as if it had anything to, I mean, because everything that she was kicked out for was her behavior was her choice, rather than something innate like someone's sexuality or their skin color.
Yep.
Whenever they try to play the reverse race or the reverse sexist or something like that card, it always makes them look all that much more retarded.
Oh, it's ridiculous. Like, talk about a bunch of whiny babies. They expect everybody else to put up with their crap, but they can't put up with a thing.
Oh, and that's the thing that the right doesn't seem to get when they want to lecture, us lefties on tolerance, because what they expect us to do is tolerate their intolerance, which, I'm sorry, dickhead, at that point tolerance becomes self-destructive.
Yep.
If you tolerate intolerance.
Well, for over 8 years, the same people that are telling everybody that we need to respect the president, that we need to get on with this investigation, the Mueller investigation, because it's gone on so far, too long, are the same people that screamed at Benghazi for I don't know how fucking long, right? And the same people that had no problem putting bananas in the sitting president's hands, calling his wife, the first lady, a man, a transvestite. They're Muslims. They weren't born in this country. These are the same fucking people that are now screaming that people aren't being fair, and we just need to,
Well, yeah, exactly, and that's exactly why I get so much fun watching Fox News, because these are the same people, like watching Fox News. This is the same news network that blasted Obama for wanting to meet with North Korea to get some deal. And now that a Republican, it's not even Trump, now that a Republican is doing that, what do you see from Fox News? oh, he's so patriotic. Oh, he's such a diplomat. I'm like, shut the fuck up. Are you serious?
Have you seen the commercial for the Trumpy bear? Right?
Oh,
Show
yes.
your patriotism. There's a fucking teddy bear with a fucking little hair thing on the top,
Yes,
and
it
comes with an American flag, so you can show how fucking patriotic you are.
Yeah, I saw it on the.
Wow.
I think it was on the episode of the Drunken Peasants.
Yeah, but it's on TV here almost every day on one channel or another.
Same here in Vermont. It's like I see it on Netflix all the time.
I haven't actually watched television in a really long time. I just don't want to pay for cable, so I don't see commercials. But I just looked it up on Google Image Search, and wow, okay.
Yeah, it's a real fucking, or a president that has its own line of hats. You know, it's like when he went to what country was it in Asia, where he gave the leader of another country or something a hat. Personal hat, you know, that says "Make the Philippines" or something, whatever. Great year,
Singapore.
You know, Singapore, yeah. And I'm like, seriously, what the fuck? He gave the man a hat. It was most likely made in China to begin with, but who the fuck does that? You know, I mean, there's presidents that have given cigar boxes, something simple like a pen, you know, a keepsake, right? Trump goes out and gives fucking hats away, you know? I mean, I don't know.
And trucker hats at that.
Oh, of course.
Okay,
Wow.
You said trucker and not trekker, right?
Right.
Because my brain went somewhere rather weird if you were talking about Starfleet. So
No.
Well, he does want to start a military
Space Force.
Space Force. Oh.
Von Helton can become a space marine.
Now I picture like Rimmer and Red Dwarf when he says.
No,
that was the Space Corps, but yeah.
Yeah, I know.
No, the only thing
I remember the old Buck Rogers.
Yeah.
The only thing I imagined was I think there was a series of Power Rangers called Power Rangers Time Force.
Yeah.
Well, what hasn't the Power Rangers?
Ridiculous idea.
Yeah.
Somebody's like, oh, somebody told him like that space aliens are also invading America, so that's why he wants to have a space force to catch the illegal space aliens and put them in jail too.
I mean, I can kind of imagine if he was like, it's not about aliens, we just want to do orbital strikes. But even then, is that better?
No.
Just by the way, to all the people in the room, don't worry, I will send you Trumpy bears for your birthdays.
Oh, thanks.
You're welcome.
I'm looking at a comic here, and there's like Trump in an astronaut outfit on some alien world, and there's these aliens, and one of them's going, "What's a tariff?" Yeah.
Oh, by the way, just for the audience as well as some people in here, I don't know if we have any Lucifer fans in here, but Lucifer was renewed for a 4th season, and it will be on Netflix. I don't know when.
Well, that
is something I have not seen. So
okay, just throwing that out there for anyone who's watching.
It's a really good
Well,
show.
actually, when Trump would go to another planet, he'd be going, "Where's your golf course?"
Yeah.
What do you mean golf balls don't hit in zero gravity? Oh. Yeah, it's just the guy is incredibly clueless.
He has no idea what he's doing. It's like he changes his mind from one day to the next. It's like he's treating it like a game.
Sits in his room at night eating McDonald's cheeseburgers, watching Fox News, and can't wait for Fox and Friends in the morning so they can get him a good shout out. You know
what floors me is his ability to flat out lie, and people don't seem to care. I don't understand how that happens.
Well, his supporters don't seem to care. We do.
Well, yeah, okay, but it doesn't seem like there's enough caring, I guess.
Well, there's people out there that are going to ride the Trump train because they were so against Obama. But I still think that Trump was that guy who accepted the right-wing evangelical
crap
shit show. You know, all them fuckers, right? I mean, he allows them to come in the White House and they prey on him and they touch him and probably touch him in funny but strange places. But you know, I mean, he's the one. They're the ones that got him elected, right? Because he you know, I mean, went to Liberty University. He just, you know, and they excused him because, you know, he accepted Jesus and stuff like that, said he was a Christian. So, well, of course, Christians sin. So when he grabbed her by the pussy, you know, he's just a sinner. And God forgave him, you know.
All he had to do was ask for that forgiveness. That's all it takes.
That perfect loophole.
Oh, yeah. You know what? Speaking of that, first of all, I hope that the Supreme Court pick is not as bad as fucking Neil Gorsuch. And by the way, since I know that we have members of the LGBT community in here, including myself, what is everyone's thoughts on the Master Cake decision?
On which now?
The Masterpiece Cake.
Yeah, Masterpiece Cake.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm probably going to be like the odd man out here, but there was someone that talked to me about an interesting precedent here. Like, if it would have ruled in favor of the gay couple and they could force a baker to make a cake that is against his will, then wouldn't the alt-right then go to Jewish bakeries and try to force them to bake cakes that say, like, gas the Jews?
The thing is that the ruling doesn't actually say that. We did a whole show on this with lawyers and paralegals and the whole 9 yards. And
that's because you have a budget.
No, I just schmooze a lot. That's all.
Yeah, I know.
But what it boils down to, the ruling actually doesn't rule on whether the baker had to make the cake or not. What the ruling was that the Human Rights Commission in Colorado, I think it was Colorado was the state, who made the original ruling, were unfair to the baker because they were too rude about his religion. That's what the ruling boiled down to. They did not actually rule on whether the baker had to make the cake or not. So technically the case has gone back to the lower court, in which case that ruling would stand, that ruling was overturned because they ruled in favor of the gay couple. So that ruling was overturned, and now theoretically the Human Rights Commission could go back and do the case again, but they probably won't. I don't know. But that's what the ruling was. So they didn't actually do what the right wingers are claiming they did. But it's tricky because the average Joe doesn't have they're not going to go read the ruling, right? The average store owner is not going to go read this. So they're going to read into it that, oh, the Supreme Court says I can be a dick now, which that's not what they said, but it doesn't, it's not, it's almost like it doesn't matter what the ruling was because they're going to take it that way anyway.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I mean, I know that it wasn't a sweeping decision. It was on a technicality, but to what Prometheus said, I don't think so, because I think, who did I watch? Kyle Kalinske keeps making this point that, being a alt-right person or being just flat out a neo-Nazi, that's not something you're born with. You know, you can change your mind with that. And more to the point here, political affiliations are not a protected class in America, although I personally think they should be to some extent. But political affiliations are not a protected class in America.
Yeah. Well, also, I mean, I realize that this is something that should probably never actually be legal, like as part of the law. But just from my own personal ethical sense, I mean, the comparison was brought up, like what's to stop a bunch of Nazis going to a Jewish baker and saying, bake a cake that says gas the Jews or something. Well, the gay cake was not against anybody. It was in support of two people. But then you get like the Nazi cake, and it's saying hurt these people rather than these people should be happy. Now, like I say, we have like free speech in this country, and having a law that says that you can only have a supportive message and not an evil message on your cake would kind of be stretching that rather more than I'm comfortable with. But that's, like I say, my own personal view on how it should go, at least just between people.
All right. Well, then how about like they're forcing the Jewish baker to put a Nazi, like a Nazi swastika flag on a cake?
Who's actually doing that? Yeah, and that's what I want to ask them. You know, well, they're coming up with these things that, you know, like, does that mean that we can go into a Jewish bakery, man, and say gas the Jews?
There was one case of some church group that went to it wasn't a quote gay bakery, but it was an LGBT friendly bakery, and they wanted them to write something that was anti-LGBT on a cake, and they said, we are not going to put that on the cake, but here are the tools and the icing for you to write whatever you want on the cake. Knock yourselves out. We will bake you the cake. We will decorate every other part of the cake. You go ahead and write what you want on it. So that case did come up.
You know, I'm sorry.
They lost, and I think they lost that and were told that they should have written what they wanted on it.
Yeah. Well, the whole thing was so avoidable if someone would have just thought, you know, even in their head, you know, no, I really don't want to make this cake, but I'm sure bakers network, right? And all they had to do, even if it's a little white line, you really don't want to do it against your personally held religious beliefs, right? The bakery down the street, I would tell the guy, say, look, that's a busy week for us, you know, but my buddy Bob's got a bakery, and I'm sure he'd be more than happy to make, you know, and that way it could be guaranteed to you, instead of, you know, well, we don't do gay cakes. I mean, they could have very easily avoided the entire situation by just not being dickheads about it.
Well, and the other thing that's interesting about the Masterpiece Cakes case that I didn't know until we delved into it on the show, they actually never got to what kind of cake it was. They went in.
It was one of those gay cakes, you know, and those gay cakes have got some.
They didn't even get that far. They went in, the two of them, with one of their mothers, and they basically said, oh, hi, we'd like to order a cake. Buddy was like, you guys are gay. I don't serve gay people. Like, he didn't even get to what was going to go on the cake. Because,
like, for all they knew, it was going to be the mom's birthday or some shit.
Exactly. So
how did they determine?
I think God tells you not to celebrate gay birthdays either. You know, I think that's in the Bible.
Mom is at least mildly interested in men if she's had a baby, I'm guessing, but you know.
Well, there's always artificial insemination.
Okay.
Absolutely, she's fast. That old turkey baster.
Well, one parallel that keeps coming up, one comparison, is when you get those pharmacists who are like, I'm not filling out your birth control prescription simply because I don't believe in that. And like they're legally obligated to hand it off to another pharmacist, but apparently they haven't been doing it. And it's just like that. I mean, these are medications. These are not cakes. There should be no quarter given on this one.
The one that just happened, I don't know what state it was, but the woman had been told her fetus was basically almost dead. It wasn't going to be viable. And she was prescribed a drug to induce the miscarriage. She went to the pharmacist. Pharmacist saw what drug it was, refused to fill it. And that was the only pharmacy in the area.
I think that actually when you get a job as a pharmacist, you should have to sign something
Absolutely.
that says, I will fill every prescription regardless. So that if they have some weird belief that makes it so they don't want to fill a prescription, tough noogies. Like, get them to find employment if they're not willing to fill everyone's prescription.
Absolutely.
You ever notice that the same people that are worried about all those unborn children don't seem to have that big of a problem putting real kids in fucking cages?
No, they don't. Isn't that weird? Or, cutting benefits or Medicare for them or anything else that might make life, tolerable.
Hiding pedophile priests because
war, all of them. They're like, it doesn't matter if you're born yet, you can die in any way possible.
Yeah.
But as long as you're in your mother's guts, well, you got to be protected like you got a force field around you, kid.
Yeah.
Don't let mom eat no chili dogs when she's pregnant,
One thing I was going to add in on about the cake mess, if me and my bear, if I had one, went in and said, yeah, we want a big old cake in the bear collars, 2 bears on top kissing and stuff.
Oh, that would be adorable.
Oh, I would love that. And they said, well, no, we don't, we can't, whatever, And I said, okay, fine, I'll go down to the store and give them my business. And that's it. It's done. It's over. They don't want to, fine. I'll go somewhere else that does. All right, this is just me personally. I think all of this has been blown so much out of proportion. Like Patrick was saying, well, maybe, he was kind of.
Hey, I'm the lobster.
That's me. Now, y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't there one of these cases where the people that were in the bakery gave out information on a couple or something?
Oh.
Used to do for? I don't remember for sure.
I have a recollection of that.
But anyway, it's blown out of proportion to me.
Well, but a lot of these religious people, they want the opportunity to make a federal case out of it because they want it out there. Hey, look at me. I am so righteous that I denied a gay couple. Like, they don't want to just say, oh, go to Johnny's Cakes down the street.
Yeah. Well, and it does seem to get them business. I mean, you remember when Chick-fil-A came out as being uber right wing, and the next thing you know, they get lines going around the block like it's a Star Wars sequel. I'm just sitting there thinking, that's what they're after. These guys is they're like, this is publicity for me here.
Yep.
Have you ever been to a Chick-fil-A? I mean, it's a fucking chicken sandwich. I mean, years ago, I went to a Chick-fil-A. I mean, this was pre 9/11 even, right? It's a chicken sandwich. You know what I mean? Instead of a hamburger, it's a chicken sandwich. Oftentimes prepared like a hamburger might be prepared, or something like that. But I have never in my life, and a Chick-fil-A shows up, and people go fucking crazy for it. I just don't.
I didn't even see one until I moved to California. There's a lot of stuff that either it doesn't leave this state or it stays in the South or something. But
you guys need to share In-N-Out Burger.
Vermont, there was not a Chick-fil-A to be found. There was no In-N-Out Burger. Good luck finding a Burger King, strangely. But yeah.
We don't have any of that stuff.
Oh gosh, we got so many just in the area here. It's crazy. If you go hungry where I live, it's your own fault.
I mean, I live within screaming distance of a Jack in the Box. There's also this place several blocks away that has there's the weirdest burgers. There's like buffalo burgers, there's ostrich burgers, there's elk burgers, and all sorts of stuff like that. It's crazy. And ostrich burgers are really, really greasy, like you wouldn't believe.
We've got a chain that you guys don't have called Harvey's. And
Hardee's.
It's not Hardy, Harvey's.
Oh, Harvey's.
Yeah, they have, as far as fast food goes, to me, they have the best burgers. By far. I have a friend in Buffalo who every time he comes up here, he's like, where's the Harvey's? Gotta have Harvey's. He totally loves it.
Well, I don't know if they make them different between Seattle and California, But Jack in the Box is nasty here. Like in Seattle, it was the best fast food I'd ever had. But here in California, it's like the burger is fatty and it's only okay. I'm like, what happened to this?
I remember in the 70s, I remember Jack in the Box and McDonald's were going neck and neck in Southern California. And something happened with Jack. There was a meat tainting or something happened that they really never got out of, you know. They lost so much business that it's just, you know. But yeah, Jack in the Boxes are different everywhere. When I was in Oregon, when I lived there, we had a Jack in the Box that was really pretty bad, you know. But
well, here in Illinois, or at least around where I live, there's a lot of privately owned businesses.
Oh yeah.
As far as like burger places and stuff. I mean, we've got our Burger Kings and McDonald's and Wendy's and all that, but there's a lot of privately owned. Out in California, it's all commercialized.
You know, we've got some
privately owned
Italian food like you can have delivered to your house that you'll ever eat in your life. Less expensive than a lot of restaurants, right? It's just amazing. Well, living in New England, you know, but yeah, I mean, I don't even really use fast food. I'll stop at McDonald's sometimes to get like a double cheeseburger or something like that if I want something quick. But I go to like private, you know, place because they got better food and probably gonna, you know.
You know, aside from pizza, I've never had Italian food delivered. That's an interesting concept.
My God, you can get antipasto, you can get lasagna that you would. Lasagna would make you go slap your mama. You know what I'm saying?
There's this place downtown that made this capellini and marinara. Like I found it when I was like in Little Italy. I had to have a hotel because the entire complex was being fumigated for termites. I went and found it, and I mean, it was like $12 for this plate of pasta, but it was huge. Like I could barely finish it, and it was so good. Oh my gosh, it was so. If I can get that delivered to my house, so yeah.
Well, if you should try like there's like Uber Eats and Skip the Dishes, those kind of services, they probably would get you delivered.
Well, there's something I think it's called like DoorDash or something like that. I got to look it up, but yeah.
Because you find a service that restaurant uses, you're golden.
And you know, it's been years since I've had a cannoli.
Always.
But like, okay, my dad's side of the family is Sicilian, so I've eaten a lot of Italian food over the years, believe me.
Oh, nice.
There was a bakery that used to have a stall at the local farmers market that made so good cannolis.
Mrs. Lobster and I went to her aunt's house one time for dinner. It's very Italian, right? Took her 3.5 days to prepare dinner. I mean, it was, I mean, meatballs. I mean, there was literally, it was a beautiful thing. But, yeah.
And you know what's weird is I've actually never in my life eaten at a Wendy's. Like I've seen them for years, but some part of me was like, burgers aren't supposed to be square. And so I just never went in, but I don't know.
That's why I won't eat square pizza. That's something that to me is, you know,
you're missing.
Or if they do the grid cut where it's like Domino's, and I don't shop there anymore because they got like serious right-wing leanings too. But they would make this thin crust, which I like because I'm used to like East Coast pizza, you know, like Brooklyn, New York style kind of pizza. But they would make this thin crust, but then they would slice it up like you're at a party and these are pizza hors d'oeuvres. And I would have to tell them, pie cut this. You cut it like a real fucking pizza. So yeah.
This isn't hard how to serve a pizza. Where are you?
One of my Facebook friends, every time he would order pizza online, there's always like a box for you to put special instructions. So every time, just for shits and giggles, he would say, cut my pizza in a pentagram.
But nice.
About a month or so ago, somebody finally did it. He posts on Facebook. He's like, kudos, whatever pizza place for finally following my instruction. And he's like, I never expected anybody to actually do it, but they did, and it was freaking awesome.
When y'all,
Man, I could be so naughty with that sort of service.
Yeah.
Heavy Holler, go ahead.
When y'all mentioned Wendy's, years ago, it was back in the late 70s or early 80s, Wendy's used to have a thing called an apple dumpling down here. And it was like a cored apple wrapped in dough or whatever. And I think it was like deep fried or baked, one or the other. And then it had all this syrup poured on top and whipped cream on top of that. Oh, man, that was so good. And they stopped serving. I'm like, well, dang. Seemed like
Most likely
you really they stopped serving. Or you go to the grocery store, oh, man, they got fat-free crackers that are so crunchy and crispy, and even after you put them in the soup, they stopped having the fat-free crackers. My roommate said if he was wanting that to go out, if they were selling shit in a bucket somewhere, he would start buying it, and then they would quit having it, or something. I don't know its exact words, but it was something along those lines.
There's
I knew a Carney years ago. First time I was working for this culinary business, and we were at this food show, this outdoor food show. It's like a barbecue beef, cook-off type thing. And he had one of these traveling foodie or carnival, they fried pickles, fried all this stuff. I had never had a fried pickle, right? And the guy told me, he says, I've been a Carney food guy for 30 years, right? And he goes, and if you go to a carnival, right, and you're selling fried anything, he said, people will eat fried shit, right? If you fry it, and you put some fucking powdered sugar on it, there are people that will probably literally eat it, right? So, yeah.
I miss fried dough at the fair that they used to have every year, what is it, the Chittenden County Fair, Burlington Fair, I don't remember, but they would have like all the rides and everything, and they would have at least 3 stalls selling fried dough. And oh my gosh.
I make my own funnel cakes now. I make them at Christmas every year. They're so good.
Yeah, I think the best thing in Vermont, at least on the time, is definitely apple cider donuts. Go ahead, Pikachu.
Hey, BionicDance. Well, first off, I want to say thank you, Atheist Stranger, for letting me in here. But yeah, BionicDance, you would love it down here in New Orleans during Mardi Gras.
Now, I've been to New Orleans once. I don't think it was during Mardi Gras, but it was for the American Atheist Convention. And that was pretty fun. I didn't get to see a lot of it because we mostly spent time in the hotel. But me and a bunch of other folks, atheists, some of them even YouTubers, like Jacqueline Glenn came with us. We did karaoke in New Orleans. That was fun.
Nice.
Oh, there's a chain of restaurants here that actually sells deep fried cheesecake, and it is wow.
Wow. That sounds like it's not only to die for, it sounds like it's to die from if you have enough of it. But wow, it sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. People will sit there and they'll go, oh my God, you shouldn't eat that. It's like, well, yeah, you're not supposed to eat a lot of it, right? It's like when you go to a restaurant and you order cheesecake, and it's really good cheesecake, right? And you go, God, that's a little piece of cheesecake, right? And then you get about halfway through it, and you got to kind of start understanding why your piece of cheesecake isn't as big as you were hoping it would be. You know?
Yep.
It's called moderation.
Sounds a whole lot better. Yeah, sorry about that. This sounds a whole lot better than what this live stream started out as. I mean, starting out with Donald Trump and the gay stuff. Yeah. And I had this feeling because I know MSNBC is going off about these concentration camp things. Yeah, MSNBC's been going off all these family concentration camp stuff that Donald Trump's been putting out. And I said, out of all the things that are out there to impeach Trump, like if you're not thinking about impeaching Trump, there's going to be it's not going to be very hard to think that,
Well, and the thing is, I mean, if I was in one of those camps, I'd find it very difficult to concentrate.
Yeah. Oh my God, someone's fast. And don't forget about those FEMA camps. I mean,
hey, The conservative people like Alex Jones were saying this for years that Obama was going to do it. Now Trump does it.
Yep.
Oh, yes.
Before Anthony Bourdain died, he was gonna apparently going to expose a bunch of shit too. So.
Oh yeah, no, didn't he have some dirt on Hillary or something? That's what I heard.
Yeah, but I also watched the whole video, the interview that was referring to, and it really had little or nothing to do with that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, fear mongering. Everything's shitty. The world's going to crap. We want to fix it for you.
Yeah, there was one congressman, I think it was during the FBI little meeting that they had I think it was either today or yesterday. The specific guy who told him to hurry the hell up, and pardon me for forgetting his name, but he was the one in charge of the Benghazi.
Ray Gowdy.
Ray Gowdy, thank you, yes. And he's going to sit there and tell these people to hurry up, yet he's the one who prolonged the Benghazi situation for like 3 years.
Oh, yeah.
Like, really, dude?
Damn,
well, it's a different situation.
It's funny because I don't have TV. I just, like I said, I don't want to pay for cable. All of my news comes from the internet, and that tends to be kind of sporadic. And so it took me a really, really long time to realize that it wasn't Benjamin Ghazi that they were talking about. So,
like Ben Ghazi, gotcha.
Exactly. Yes.
Well, apparently, if you're liberal, the only thing you watch on TV is CNN and MSNBC, and the only time I watch really any of those is like if there's like that shooting in Annapolis the other day. I just want to see how people are covering it and stuff like that. But I watch internet stuff. I get news feeds from all different places and different beliefs. Weird shit.
They haven't had it for years, but MSNBC used to have this page where, like, every night you could download Keith Olbermann and Rachel Maddow. And, like, I liked Keith Olbermann just because he had that wit. But I mostly only watched Rachel Maddow because, oh my gosh, she's cute. But other than that,
Hey! This is a family show here.
Nah.
No, it isn't.
If you're gonna be promoting your gay agenda, then
Either way, Rachel Maddow rocks.
Okay, first of all, if this was a family show, Deb wouldn't be here. But anyway. just playing, Deb. Just playing.
You want to get into Canada? How?
Yes, I do. I still do.
We're wanting to get into Canada. We're promoting the gay agenda.
Either way, Rachel Maddow really rocks. She's the best.
I mean, I have my disagreements with Rachel Maddow, but overall, she's better than some of the hacks I've seen on all the news stations.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Years ago on the news, they would just report literally what happened, right? And their personal opinion wasn't really part of the story, and they didn't share that so much, right? They would just report like Huntley Brinkley, Walter Cronkite. When they used to do the news, they didn't, you very seldom even saw any type of emotion out of Walter Cronkite, except for like what Kennedy did.
Editorializing. It was just the facts, man.
Yeah. And now, every show has like these opinion things and people on all the sides, right? They have and I like Rachel Maddow. I like Anderson Cooper. He's pretty good. Yeah. And there's certain ones I like, but so many times these shows are more about someone's personal fucking opinion than it is basically of actually reporting anything.
Now the Canadian news isn't too bad, and they've really stayed away from that editorializing shit. But I mean, I sometimes watch the Young Turks, and that even irks me that they get into personal opinion stuff. I'm like, okay, on one hand, you're telling me that you're trying to be more impartial, independent, you're not, you know, pushing an agenda, but then you're talking, you know, you're getting on there and giving your own opinion. So like, and not as part of an editorial segment, but just as part of your regular news show. And as much as I think that they make more of an effort to present facts, the fact that they're doing that at all is muddying the waters still. And I don't like that. I wish they would get away from that and go back to, look, we're just trying our best to report what the facts are. And
yeah, I actually stopped watching the Young Turks about a year and a half ago or something, where they started to annoy me by doing their own ads. Like, it wasn't an ad that would appear and you can skip it in 3 seconds. They like what's her face? Anna would say, and here's our sponsor, blah, 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 in every video. And I was like, guys, you're selling out here. Stop it.
Now, Cenk they used to put that at the end, which I'd be like, okay, it's the end. I can just, Cenk started putting them at the beginning of the segment now. And I'm annoyed as fuck. And the other thing that was irking me, I have a lot of Southern American friends. Cenk used to do this segment. It's stopped running now, as far as I could tell. But he would be like, oh, to all of you who support us, bless their hearts. And I'm like, dude, no, don't, no.
Well, I mean, Cenk often has this whole, like he still does very religious sort of like commentary where it's just expressions. It's like when one of us might say, oh my God, if something weird happened, just because we grew up around it. But some of his are really, really, like, I guess eloquent is the word for it, where it's just like, wow, that's something you learned from your parents and grandparents, isn't it? Kind of thing. But I mean, I only watch like Jimmy Dore and Secular Talk now. And like, as much as I think Kyle does a decent job reporting the news, there are times where I'm like, dude, stop doing that. When he does the like, oh, clutching at your pearls thing. And I'm like, dude, you're bad at that. You're really bad at that. Stop.
Yeah, you should watch Jamal Thomas or Tim Black, Nico House. You should really catch those guys.
Never heard of them, but I should write that down.
Yeah, same here. And I actually, besides Secular Talk and the occasional CNN thing that I see, I listen to a lot of NPR and independent radio.
Well, I love Jimmy Dore's sense of humor. He's great.
I actually agree with BionicDance. Like, I like watching Secular Talk, but I also like sometimes, every once in a while, watching the Humanist Report. But the thing is, even Kyle Kalinske even said it, that one time he was talking about something with Donald Trump, and he was saying, oh, this is a big slippery slope thing. And it was a slippery slope. And like, he was admitting to committing the fallacy. And I was like, dude, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of fear mongering going on, appeals to fear, and there's a lot of this slippery slope fallacy going on. And I'm like, man, yeah, you need to change something.
Well, I mean, there are a lot of times where it's like, I go, this is something I would really like to see. And I know it's completely unfair. It goes against all the principles of this country, but I still would like to see. I'm not even going to fight for it, right? It's just something where if my world was better, we would have this happening. And it wouldn't necessarily hurt other people. It wouldn't necessarily make their lives actually worse. It just means they wouldn't get to like harsh on other people. That kind of thing. Right? It's like sort of in self-defense, the way that making people who do free speech that really honestly is horrible to say, making them shut up, where it's like, I know that's against everything. And like I said, I'll never fight for it, but gosh, the world would be better if that was ended. You know.
What, free speech?
Yeah.
Well, no, specific speech that's hurtful.
Well,
right?
yeah.
Really hurt. But that's what I'm saying is like that is something I think would make life more pleasant, but it would also make life less ethical, less moral.
Right.
It would violate the principles of this country. And so, like I said, I would never fight for it.
A lot of people don't understand that. Sure, you've got free speech, but it comes with responsibility. And at times, while you're exercising your free speech, just remember there are other people that are going to also exercise their free speech to show you what kind of a dickhead you are.
Well, the truth is, I mean, I can't necessarily get free speech from
repercussions,
but I can get you a coupon for 20% off.
People don't understand this. Free speech doesn't mean I can say whatever the fuck I want to say, and I don't give a fuck who you are, and you're a fucking asshole. No, you can't do that. That's not free speech. Free speech is voicing your opinion and fighting for what you believe in and stuff like that. Okay, it's the old saying where you can't yell fire in a theater when there is no fire.
Sure you can, but there's repercussions if you do.
What I mean to say is that's wrong. So that's not free speech. Okay, free speech is what I said it was first. Free speech is not yelling fire in a theater when there is no fire. That's not free speech. That's just being an asshole, and that could actually get you fined or even prosecuted for. I forgot.
You guys know we don't actually have codified free speech in Canada. It's
I've heard that.
It's so not like, a Bill of Rights at all.
So like the government could potentially like step in and say you're not allowed to say that, or even we'll put you in jail if you do.
Technically, yes. We did actually have hate speech laws. I want to say it was about a decade or so ago, maybe in the 90s. We had a infamous Holocaust denier by the name of Ernst Zundel in Canada. And he famously was prosecuted for creating anti-Holocaust propaganda and distributing it. Like he had his own printing company, and he was printing this shit and disseminating it and whatever. And he was prosecuted and convicted under anti-hate speech laws. And it was overturned on appeal for being unconstitutional because it wasn't necessarily free speech. It was something else related. I'd have to look it up. So we did have that law was overturned, but technically they could, if they could find something that didn't go against the Constitution directly, they could definitely put something back if they wanted.
So what's Canada's stance on being an outspoken flat earther?
I think we deport you. At least I should hope so. No, we don't.
Yeah, I think there should be a law against stupidity in general.
Yes, we do.
Well, okay, a law against stupidity. Okay, let's police this one up.
If you're a flat earther, you're stupid. Okay. Therefore, you're working against the law.
Did you guys see who my province?
You're allowed to be. You're allowed to be an idiot. You know.
Heretic woman, go ahead.
Did you not see who my province just elected as our fucking premier people? Like,
yeah, Doug Ford.
Doug Ford. Ugh. I'm just like, can I move to be seen? Okay,
is that Rob Ford's brother?
Yes.
Holy shit! You guys are in for some fun.
A fucking Trump supporter. I'm like, are you kidding me?
God.
Well, Trump has finally infiltrated Canada. You guys are fucked.
Seriously. And some of the people I talked to, like pre-election about this guy, the guy is a fucking moron. He's exactly like Trump. He doesn't know what he can and can't do. He's never been in government before. He's only like ran a family business. He has zero, and his business is failing. Funny that. He has no idea what he's doing. He doesn't even... Like he was like, oh, I'm gonna privatize this green belt area and like log it for resources, and people are like, you can't actually do that. That's not like legal to do. And he's, oh, okay, well, my bad. And I was talking to people about this guy who were like, oh, he tells it like it is, and he's going to get rid of corruption. I'm like, no, people.
Hey, it could be worse. It could have been Lauren Southern.
Oh. Yeah.
About that law you was talking about?
Yes.
There was something came up that I'd heard. It's like you cross the line. I mean, you can talk about other people or whatever or things, but there's there's a line that you cross when you are inciting people to
violence.
Yeah. So it's like you can say, well, you're a dirty dog, but then that's different from trying to get other people to gang up on this person or cause him harm or something.
Exactly.
I don't know the wording.
If you're going around saying, you know, people who wear red shirts that say they're blue should be beaten up, that's illegal. But if you could say, well, people who wear red shirts that say they're blue are fucking annoying, and I'm just kidding, but you know, they're.
No, I am fucking
I'm
annoying.
feeling some tension right now between you two. I mean, if there's some tension between you two, you need to get it out in the open because I think you'll feel better. Sheila Gates got that. Yeah, she's ready to go. Come on, Heretic. Talk a mean game, man. Come on.
Lobster, you're assuming that would be a bad thing to me.
Same here.
I'm not assuming a damn thing.
Given the amount of time she's perforated herself, I have a feeling this would be pretty okay.
I used to call that the Board of Education when I was in elementary school.
Put it this way, my old apartment had a hook in the ceiling.
All right. See, back in Seattle, I hung out with enough goths that this would be nothing, right?
That's what they used to spank us with, paddle just like that when I went to a Lutheran school when I was a kid. It had a bunch of holes in it, and it said Board of Education. So they'd take you in the office, and that's what they whoop you with.
Well, you know, back in the day, I actually supported the conquest of Metropolis and the death of Superman. I was a Lex Lutheran.
Oh, my God.
Sorry.
That's far left. That's far left. Yeah, okay. That's a Lutheran joke I've never heard before. Thank you very much.
Never heard of a Lex Luthor? Come on, that's
I'm not into the comics, and you know.
That's the most obvious joke in the world, though.
I know.
Yeah, we could say this. Yeah. We could say this. There's two good things that's coming out of this. First off, number one, corrupt Joe Crowley is no longer in the House of Representatives. He's been replaced by a 28-year-old social democrat, liberal, whatever. And of course, Lex Luthor has a chance of winning something in the American government.
Yeah.
Well, you know, these days, I think it's more like the trailer park of representatives.
I can't wait. Whenever Trump's term is over, right? And it will be one day, right? Hopefully, unless he blows us up and we go to war with Korea or something, or invade Canada. But one of these days, he's not going to be president anymore. And I'm waiting for after that brief little lull, right, when we're bringing in a new president, when all the books and tell-alls come on about how much of a fucking retard Trump really was and how clueless he really is.
Well, what I'm worried about is that Trump will have some sort of take you all with me plan, where it's like as soon as he gets ousted as president, whether it's by an election or he gets impeached or something, he's going to find some way to fuck over everybody else before he's out of office. You know he is.
I've heard this over and over again about in a lot of these hearings, right, where people are actually asked if they were told they had to take an oath to Trump, or you know what I'm saying, like be loyal to Trump. Huh?
Like an oath of fealty.
Yeah, you know, and it's like, who the fuck, you know, I mean, all these people thought Obama wanted to be king, was going to declare himself dictator, you know, he was going to
be the Antichrist.
Yeah, I mean, the whole fucking world was fixing to just go, you know, and then we get Trump, and it's like he's doing the same shit that they were, I mean, I don't know.
But that's exactly what we said about the FEMA camps. You know, Obama. They were saying Obama's going to do it. Obama's going to do it. Patrick,
they all accused him.
They accuse everyone else of what they want to do.
They were all accusing Obama, and all the people that were doing accusing was the Trump people. All the people who. You know, and the racists too, because God forbid we have a black president, that sort of thing, right before he even became president, and that's what was going on. and it's the same religious thing where you get the projection. Everybody was projecting onto Obama everything that he wasn't and what they were. And then we went and got a freaking jerk off who was actually doing the things that these people are accusing Obama of.
Well, one thing that was funny, I actually take part in an atheism booth every Saturday in Balboa Park. We set up a booth. Yeah.
Oh, I used to live down in Rosecrans.
Okay. Well, but the thing is, this one guy came up to us today and he started saying like, oh, Christianity is under attack in this country. And we were like, really? Because there's all these things that, like, you guys are what, 70% of the country, and plus there's all these horrible things that Christians are doing to other people, like birth control and being against LGBT and all that stuff, forcing religion into schools. And he's like, oh, you guys are just playing the victim card. And I'm like, really? You weren't just playing the victim card by saying your shit's under attack, but now we are? What are you, fucking high?
Hey, BionicDance. Can I say something to BionicDance?
Yeah.
You should have seen Rick Wiles this past week. I just did a video on him today. He was saying that the liberals, and he's a conservative Christian, as you guys know, he was saying the liberals are going to kill Donald Trump. That they're going to impeach him, and then they're going to fucking murder him.
Oh, no,
yeah,
dude.
That's how liberals operate. Sure.
I have one better. In fact, Matt Gilmore can attest to this. We actually did one of the videos we did on our last podcast, on our last episode. Rick Wiles said, and I quote, that the blood of aborted fetuses are in the water supply.
I saw that. There was a video on YouTube about that.
What I don't understand is they don't understand that there's like what. No, there's not, right? You don't even have to go into like, hey, there's water treatment plants, there's trade, all this stuff like that, right? It's just, no, it's just not fucking true, because this is the stuff that people fucking believe, and because some weird fucking religious zealot wacko like fucking Wiles guy or whoever the fuck,
Anderson.
Hey, before the subject changes too far, I just want to say that I'm glad that you take part in the atheist thing, but that's nothing new. They've been doing that since day one.
Yeah.
They project on everybody else. This is what I was talking about, projection. This is what happened with Trump. They project on everybody else all of their own faults, including playing the victim card. And it's them who are always being on the attack, and they claim to be being attacked. That's they've been doing that for decades, maybe even centuries.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's sort of their thing, is like, well, our savior was martyred and everyone hates us, and we're so like persecuted by everybody. And they haven't been for ages. I mean, maybe at one point, yeah, Christians were kind of a minority that people would spit on or whatever, but it's been centuries since then, and you guys are in power. What are you bitching about? But it's like built into their faith. It's built into their religion that they are the victim.
Well, and I think you hit on something there, because it's actually in the Bible that believers would be persecuted. So I think there's an element of, the Bible says we're supposed to be persecuted. That's part of how we know we're right. So we must be being persecuted somehow.
Exactly, that's exactly.
Therefore, it must be true.
Exactly, and that's exactly how you get idiots like true empiricism, fucking Ronnie. I think
Ronnie.
Well, what's that dude's name? I think Tim from the Bible Thumping Wingnut Show. That's how you get those idiots.
Oh,
these are YouTubers that take the Christian persecution thing way too fucking far.
Well, they call it
Bible Thumping Wingnut. That was him.
Happy holiday.
And he's Matt Slick's partner in crime at times.
Yeah, they call it persecution porn. It's like, if we're not being persecuted, we're going to do something to make people, get honest about things. We're going to on purposely get people to say things about us, and then we'll sit back and go, oh no, they're persecuting me. Jesus said that we were going to be persecuted, this and that. If they ain't being persecuted, they're going to do something to cause it to happen.
Yeah.
We have people that literally want the book of Revelations to come true. They want that final war. That's why the whole fucking Israel thing, Now, personally, I mean, this isn't a discussion about the Middle East politics and stuff like that, but I could give two fucks personally if Egypt if Israel even existed, or if I don't give a shit, right? But when so many, because it doesn't affect me, but and I'm selfish like that, but there's so many people out there that because this is where Jesus lived and this is the promised land and God told us this is going to come true. There are so many fucking people out there that literally want to fucking start wars just so they can fucking prove
Yep.
the whole fucking thing, right? Oh, see, it's, you know.
Bring Jesus back faster.
Yeah.
They want to
You know what I think about?
that unrest.
You know what I think about the Middle East? Sorry about that. I think that the Middle East is basically a British fuck up that they made during the middle of the British and French fuck up that they made during the middle of the First World War when they split up
well, they lied to everybody involved.
Yeah, well, when they split up the what was it, that empire, the Ottomans, they had liberal Democrats and social whatever who lived in Medina, who lived on the western side of Arabia and some of that other stuff, and they had the Saudis who lived on the fucking eastern side of the shit, and they were pledging all this stuff that they were gonna, they were gonna support the liberal this and that, and they were gonna give them their land and this and that, and the liberals were saying, we don't mind having a two-state solution and this and that shit, and then what they turned their backs. They went to the Saudis and they cut up the rest of the Middle East and gave it all the fucking fundamentalist Islamic clerics, and then they still said we're gonna go put in a two-state solution. Then when France got fucking invaded by Germany, and Britain had to give up all their land, the whole thing collapsed. And every single one of those motherfuckers started supporting Adolf Hitler. Every single one of those motherfuckers are supporting, having a whole Palestinian takeover, a whole Palestinian control over that territory instead of a two-state solution. They were, Hitler was supporting them because they were killing Jewish people, persecuting Jewish people, persecuting gay people, persecuting all this other shit. And, and then, of course, after the war, America just propagated the British bullshit that happened before the war, and they allowed the two-state solution to happen, but you still had the fundamentalist Islamic, Sharia, whatever fuckers in Syria and Jordan and all those other motherfucking countries that wanted to fucking, kill the Jews and take over the whole fucking area. And it was like, you can't even institute any sort of politics in that area without intervening now, because of these motherfuckers. And I'm saying this now, like the only hope we have may be if there's any democratic socialist in the area, support these motherfuckers, find a way to have them go ahead and defeat these people. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, again, we have to intervene into it some kind of way, which is difficult.
Gotten so jumbled with so many foreign names that I can't remember who we support in the Middle East and who we don't, and why, and who's doing what to whom. It's gotten to the point where I'm just like, I cannot follow this. I can follow like Dune or Star Wars easier than I can follow this, right? It's just I don't know anymore. I need like a chart of here's the people doing what to who. Here's who's fighting who. Here's who the U.S. supports.
You don't know the players unless you get a scorecard.
But we all know one thing: George Soros is funding all of it, right?
Absolutely. Yes, them, the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds.
And Kate, here's the thing. Here's something very simple to know. It is a fact that the United States government, even at this time, is supporting 73% of the world's dictatorships, most of which we actually propped up.
The one thing I know that seems to never change is that the U.S. is 100% in support of Israel. That's everything I can remember.
Yeah,
I think there was,
and that's only because of religious reasons. Make no mistake.
Yeah, there was something else too I wanted to say. I'm sorry about that, Bionic, but the thing was that on the comment that I made on the video that I made earlier, I had somebody comment about something, and it got to the point where I started saying, you know, where the video I made about Rick Wiles, I said, you know, these people in the United States, these fundamentalist people like John Hagee and Rick Wiles and the rest of them, they're seeing these Saudi Arabian clerics, and you see the Saudi Arabian clerics, if you count probably about 6 of them, they're billionaires, out of the top 10 billionaire people. And the reason is because Saudi Arabia is given all this money from black gold that they're getting from the big corporate, oil companies to religious fundamentalists, and these motherfuckers got Airbus A380s, 2 of them that are fucking even more decked out than Donald Trump's jets that he has, fucking 5-story mansions with golf courses, 200 Bugattis and shit, fucking all this other crap, and then they have slaves working for them that are living in mud huts outside the city somewhere.
Well, does anyone else have trouble like they talk about in the news about these clerics have trouble not thinking, okay, you're a cleric, I'm a lawful good paladin, and here's a fighter mage, and I have the worst. I'm sorry, I'm a total geekatron, and I cannot hear the word cleric without at least thinking that in my head. It actually feels really good to finally get it out because I've never said it to anybody. So yeah,
it makes total sense though if you're geekily inclined in that manner.
Yeah.
I've never played RPGs, so I get it because I know enough people who do, but it's not my default. And since I've dove into Islam on my other show, I now actually mentally put them as imams, muftis, mullahs, sheikhs.
It all starts to sound like Magic the Gathering or Dungeons and Dragons.
Same thing with Christianity.
I mean, but by the way, great decision by a president to at least from my understanding, we pretty much left the UN as far as I know. So yeah, that was a totally great fucking move.
I seem to remember hearing something about that. This country.
Well, it was the Human Rights Council. I mean, Saudi Arabia is a part of it, so it's not even.
Oh, yeah, that I could not understand. Who in their right mind would put those fuckers not only on it, but in charge of it?
Heretic, what are you talking about? Saudi Arabia is amazing when it comes to civil rights.
Oh, yeah, just ask Raif Badawi. He'll tell you all about it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, but sorry.
When you really think about it, free speech laws exist to protect people's uncivil rights.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
And that's another one I think every time someone says civil rights. I'd like you should, if you could hear what goes on in my head, the amount of things that people say that will trigger a joke or a song. Sometimes I wish I could just turn my brain off for a while.
That's a question. One time I said this before to somebody that the United States needs to have not 3 branches of the government, but 4. And the 4th branch needs to be a scientific branch based off of those people who have doctorates in scientific fields, not that aren't political science, that are just based off of things like chemistry and other sort of stuff. And that, like I said, have PhDs, and they need this branch of the government in order for them to pass laws to make it to the House and the Senate. They has to go through this branch of the government, and they have to get scientific consensus on every single law that they try to pass.
Now
I can see.
Good and well, the religious right will have a baby or 2 over that. That's not putting it right. Anyway, the religious right will go crazy over that, and they will be pushing for creation science and using their influence to try to get that shit in.
Yeah,
I just have a thing about creation science. It's bullshit.
Well, I mean, this administration
we all do.
I mean, it's made. So.
And the people who make money on it are the ones that are pushing it so hard, and they know better. They know that it's not real. They're doing it for the money, the control.
Yeah. Well, it's just that I would rather have it's just that I would rather have a Lawrence Krauss, or not a Lawrence Krauss, a Stephen Hawking's type of guy who's really involved with science, who's really into his field, who knows that creationism is wrong, and agrees with the 98% of scientists who disagree with creationism, who is going to get up there and vote, scientifically, for scientific consensus for his, field, or for what is better for his field, and what's better for other scientific fields that are proven scientific fields, not related to religion and shit.
Using the word science, and I'm not saying that you did, but I got me a fresh cup of coffee, so I'm all reloaded. But anyway, the word science has been bastardized and shit on so many levels anymore. You've got Christian science, creation science. You've got what we call pseudoscience, but other people call homeopathic shit, right? So, or words like logic, right? You'll hear some creationist or something, right? Describing something. Well, I couldn't come up with any other explanation, so logically I said to myself, hey, God must have done it. Huh?
Or they'll say that God created logic or something like that.
The same guy who came up to the booth earlier today, the one who was saying that, what was it? I forget. Oh, right, the persecution thing. He also said that he was trying to say that God was real because he was using ration. And we're like, dude, you're using reason. Like ration. I sure it sounds like you're being rational to you, but there's no ration is what you eat. You eat rations.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, wow, this guy is wow.
I took a 3-day supply of rations to the rally so I could be logical.
And what the term Dunning-Kruger? That's what the guy. He had a weapons grade case of Dunning-Kruger.
That's why I said there should be a law against stupidity.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I have a meme that I put out a lot. It's got a picture of me on it from the side, and it says, "God's not real. Get the fuck over it." Right?
There's an idea that I had a while back. I was thinking, like, make a story about like an idiot president and an idiot vice president, sort of loosely based on some people we might know, and have it be President Dunning and Vice President Kruger, and see how many people get it.
I like it.
Kruger has a German accent.
Hey, you guys made a good point that Deerflix should have did. They should have named the God's Not Dead movies God's Not Real movies.
Yeah, we recently have these little outdoor block party type things near where I live and everything, and they're really nice. I've gone to a couple of them. With this hot and humid weather, there ain't no fucking way in the world I'm going because they don't air condition the outside. But they had one recently, and it was family friendly, right? And for the most part, it was pretty good. But then there's this guy under this tent, one of those, I don't know, you can get him at a hardware store for, at Home Depot for like $70, $60, just Anyway, he's got this megaphone bullhorn, right, screaming to children about God's mercy and all this shit, right? And when some people actually said something, right, they're like, well, he's just teaching the word, and kind of going with the, everybody's got their own belief. You have to respect someone's beliefs. And we're like, no, that's bullshit. I don't have to respect a goddamn thing, right? Because they're like screaming at kids with these fucking bullhorns, right? Telling little kids about how they need to repent and love Jesus and hell and all this crap, And I'm like, how the fuck is this family fucking friendly, right?
You know what I think is stupid about that? I think what's stupid about that is their Bible says, "Judge and you shall be judged," and they're out there judging.
Well, no, they're not judging. They're not judging you personally. They're showing you what God told them to say and stuff.
Yeah,
and it says it in the Bible right now, you hypocrite. So,
I've been given that line before. It's like, oh no, we're supposed to righteously judge.
Fishers of men. Any ex-Christians out there remember growing up, fishers of men? Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh wait.
Have you
God
guys
told me no, I was gonna say, oh wait, God told me that I should go out and I should judge you for this reason, but then God also told me that I'm not supposed to judge you for some other fucker.
I know. Speaking of idiots with megaphones, have you guys seen the video of that guy? He went around
Jesus.
No. He went around before Christmas to a shopping mall with a megaphone.
Oh yeah.
Santa,
God.
and then he did it again on the Trans Day of Visibility. There was a group in a public library, but they had rented one of the rooms, and they were having reading to the kids. Some trans women were reading to the kids and teaching them about trans people. And he barges in with his fucking megaphone. It's like, transgender's not real, and Jesus, and blah blah blah. And I'm like, holy fuck, you asshole. And he's all proud of himself, like, we're just telling some truth to the children. Oh,
yeah, I saw that video.
That's the kind of guy,
God's love when he told the Israelite families to put blood off of their top of their doors at night, so when the angels came that night with swords and stuff, they wouldn't kill their babies. Just those heathen.
I think it was
because he didn't know the difference.
Absolutely. And babies all look alike, so I mean, if you, a lot of times you see it, you go, oh, it looks like it's the same baby,
I think the omniscience part should play a role
he's
in
got
that.
other things on his mind to remember what every
he's got a shit ton of car keys to
find.
find.
He's got a lot of things going on there, heretic, and you know that.
Hey, Lobster, just one small correction. All Chinese babies look the same. You had that wrong.
Ooh.
Oh, now we're getting.
I love it.
It's okay. I
remember the day when your school, if whoever remembers the book club, right? You used to be able to get a Polish joke book, the Italian joke book. There was all sorts of like ethnic humor, right? Religion humor. I mean, there's nothing like Methodists and Baptists going at each other in a joke war about who whatever but things like that used to go on all the time, right? And somewhere along the line, somebody got their feelings hurt, right? And it's gotten to this point now where literally anything you say, someone is going to get offended,
Yeah. Can I ask one question?
We here at Sexual Lobster Ministries, this is what we don't give a fuck. But I'm sorry.
Well, this question, it's not about where babies come from, is it? Because you should have learned that a long time ago.
Yeah. No, I just saw the other day.
Wait. Kate was going to talk about where babies came from. My mom and dad.
I was gonna put the deal with the religious getting offended by certain things in culture and shit like that. And I was saying that the other day I saw was Monty Python's The Life of Brian on YouTube. They had a free thing of it on YouTube, and I was watching. I said, God, I wonder if this movie was to be redone, for today and then put in movie theaters today. Like, how many motherfucking religious people would be so pissed about it?
Well,
Well, they were
at the
pissed when it was
time.
new. I mean, they had this
Yeah.
whole interview with a bunch of priests saying, "Oh my gosh, look at how horrible this is. Look at they're making fun of Jesus." How did they explain to them that Brian is not Jesus? And they were like, "You got this guy doing the Sermon on the Mount. That's Jesus, and we're not even making fun of him." They're like, "Yeah, you are. You've got the people who are saying like blessed are the cheesemakers." And they're like, "We're making fun of the fact that they're too far away to hear him. It's not making fun of Jesus." And like these people were just totally losing it. And one thing that's kind of entertaining for me, though, it's going to start out sounding like it's off topic, but it's not. You remember in The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, you have this guy who starts out as Captain Piet, but then Admiral Ozzel gets choked, and now he's Admiral Piet, right? Well, the guy who played that guy, Admiral Piet, played Jesus in The Life of Brian.
Nice.
Same guy. Yes, Ken
nice.
A little bit of trivia from
they
Total
actually
Geekatron.
they tried to ban Life of Brian in Canada because
Really?
it was we were way more British back then, like and a little more anal, I guess. I don't know, but yeah, they tried to ban it in Canada.
That's not a good word to say.
No, we got better.
Butt sex.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show.
There's this guy. I was trying to decide whether or not to make a video response to him, but there was this guy. Maybe you know him. He's the one with the baseball hat that's got the cross on it, blue hat, red cross.
Oh yeah, that dork.
And like he was going off.
G-Man. Fucking G-Man, I bet you. Was he black?
No, totally different guy.
No, it wasn't
But
G-Man. Oh, okay.
he was going off about like how he hates gays, he hates the whole LGBT thing, but the only thing he would talk about was butt sex, male on male butt sex. I'm sitting here thinking, as a lesbian, I feel almost left out. Right? Why aren't we so horrible? And of course, he glossed right over, like deliberately said it. Oh, two men are in love, big deal. They're getting it on in each other's buttholes. And I'm like, dude. So yeah.
That's because girl on girl isn't considered really gay to a lot of guys. Because it's acceptable and it's hot.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's actually something I was talking.
I'm serious. That is what a lot of guys will tell you.
But I was talking about it with some friends of mine, and we were like, okay, probably the main reason that like male on male sex is creepy to some people is simply because the genitals stick out. Right, they're on the outside, so you can see it as like 1/8 of Cthulhu hanging off a guy's crotch, right? But with women, I mean, if you stand the right way, you can't even see the camel toe. It's like just this flat, not visible thing, right? And so, in a way, it makes it so much more acceptable. And I mean, guys seem to have this problem with their genitals. I mean, how many guys call it their junk, right?
I do. Captain Howdy.
There does seem to be a certain amount of dick shame for guys, and that's probably why that they wig out about male on male sex.
And there's not really. I can tell you why I wig out on it, because I think it's the most disgusting thing I've ever seen or even heard of. I mean, you're sticking your dick in somebody's fucking shithole. I mean, that's fucking gross.
Have you ever
sometimes they give each other head.
Well, there are ways to clean it out. Have you ever had your prostate massaged? Whoa.
No, I haven't.
Patrick, when you go on Pornhub, man, what's that first category you go to, man?
Say that again. When I go where?
When you go to Pornhub.
You go to Pornhub.
What's that first category you go skipping right to when you just don't want to waste no time?
I don't generally skip, but I agree with you about the lesbian sex versus male gay sex. It's a double standard.
Answer the question, Patrick. What's that category you go to?
I don't have one.
I go to mind control.
I don't. I think I've only been to Pornhub once, and that was to look for something specific.
What, like there was sort of like a song you can't remember, and you're talking about, there was a certain specific video you wanted to find.
I remember seeing a video one time
there
where
was
this
a
girl
porno that I saw when I was about 15 years old at my neighbor's house that I Googled, and it came up a link to Pornhub, and I was like, well, damn, it's out there, and went and had a look because I hadn't seen it in like 25 years.
There was one I found very difficult to find where it was just these two girls who spent an entire weekend naked. That was the whole thing. Like there was no sex involved. They're just walking around this town, and I don't even know where, like Germany or some shit, where they're just butt naked for 3 days.
Cool.
Yeah.
They sorry about that, Kate. They tried that in the United States, and then there was something, I think it was on True TV. They got arrested for doing that. Did it not for like 3 minutes. They got arrested just cutting the grass. Guy was
one thing I'm kind of known for is the Fremont Solstice Parade in Seattle, which I kind of want to go back for the next one, just to visit my friends and to do this, because the Solstice Parade is begun by being crashed, because they're not technically part of the parade, by several hundred naked, body-painted people on bicycles. Now, I don't own a bicycle, so I'm on my rollerblades, but I've done it like 4 or 5 years, and it's a lot of fun.
Give me a bicycle and a bag of shrooms, and I'm there, man.
Yeah, I was actually going to say something. Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
I was actually going to say something to Kate about the dick thing. You know, I remember you saying that a lot of men get very, very antsy about their dick size.
Do they?
Like,
well, okay, I remember a friend of mine said that he's a grower, not a shower, and I'm like, dude, I needed to know that. That is information I had to have. Thank you.
I was going to say it's actually legal for women to go topless where I live. People don't.
Why would you want to? You're in Canada. It's freezing.
Pretty much, yes. I only know of one that has done it regularly. Although now Pride is a whole other thing. Everybody's naked at Pride, but you know, like they don't even. There's a whole group of naturists and people walk around with things out everywhere, and it's great. I don't mind. See, I happen to be an admirer of the penis, so I'm all good with flappy things.
As an owner of a cock myself, I'm pretty proud of mine.
There you go.
There we go. The best thing probably is to go to the most fundamentalist church that's homophobic, and then right outside the church, on the driveway to enter the church, you just spray paint this dick with instead of 2 balls, it's got two upside down pentagrams. And like I said,
the only bad thing about mine is that I have to carry mine in a wheelbarrow. That's pretty much it. But other than that, it's pretty awesome.
You know, there was some Roman graffiti like that.
What's the difference? What's the difference between Hitler and a jockstrap? One's a dictator, the other's a dictator.
Oh.
Well, that's a sexist joke, man. If you've ever been forced to wear a jockstrap, you know, it'd be one of the most.
I have only one joke. What do you call a shark in tight leather pants?
Wait, what was that?
Oh, there we go.
I said, what do you call a shark in tight leather pants? MC Hammerhead.
That's awful.
What's the difference between meat and fish?
What?
What's the difference between meat and fish?
What?
You're not supposed to beat your fish.
Yeah, I saw that. I didn't just see that coming.
That's an old Red Fox. We used to have these old Red Fox albums and Gene Tracy, and you know, back in the old days when they had albums with dirty comics and stuff.
That was a good one, Kate.
Fred Sanford was one nasty motherfucker, man.
Well, I've got a filthy limerick that I wrote.
Oh, very nice.
A Scotsman named Angus MacLeod thought he was quite well endowed. He'd lift up his kilt to show how he was built, no matter how unreceptive the crowd.
Nice. Well, you know, if
you put a couple bars to it, you know, a couple chords, you know, and a little rhythm instruments in the background, it could be a hit. I think you got a hit there.
There's an old story about a Scotsman who was walking home from the pub one night, and he'd had a little bit too much to drink, and he was feeling kind of woozy. Kate looks like she might know this one.
This is a song. This is
it could be, yeah, it could be, but I just know it as like a story. And so he decides, you know, he's a little woozy. He doesn't want to go any farther. So he lays down to take a nap, and the ditch is kind of grassy, and lays down to take a nap. And while he's napping there, a couple of young lasses come by, and he's snoring away in the ditch. And they think, guy with a kilt in the ditch. We've always wondered what's under those kilts. So they lift it up, have themselves a look. And of course, he's regimental. And they decide to leave something to let him know that they were there. So one of them takes the blue ribbon out of her hair, ties it around his dick, and they kind of giggle and move along. And he wakes up, a couple hours later, and he's, I got to take a leak, man. So he gets up and lifts his kilt, and he's like, laddie, I don't know where you've been, but you won first prize.
Yeah. No, I the first time I ever heard that, it was on a collection of Dr. Demento.
Okay.
That it's like, well, a Scotsman clad in kilt left the bar one evening fair. Like that. It's this the whole thing you just said, but it's in song form.
Okay. I just know it I used to do medieval recreation, and that story was passed around bardic circles for years in just story form. So they probably scammed it from somewhere, and who knows whether it was a song first or
I don't know. It could have been either. Yeah. I bet you it was an old legend first, and someone put it in song form. But I actually, I have another stream where I sang the song, so I'm not going to subject it to you now, but yeah.
You guys are reminding me of another Monty Python film, the other really popular Monty Python film, The Holy Grail, and shit, when you guys talk about that. And that's I think that's really, funny.
I remember growing up.
I never did that.
Well, yeah. Well, okay. Technically, my doctor says I'm aging, right? But yeah, the other part's kind of in dispute. But I remember being shown Led Zeppelin albums. I remember that's how I actually got introduced to Led Zeppelin. Was they showed us the Led Zeppelin album, the one that had that little wheel where you could turn it. Anyway, that's how I was also introduced to Monty Python, by the way. Was they were talking to us about blasphemy and things like that. So I guess in a lot of ways, religion has introduced me to Monty Python and rock and roll. So
but for me, you were saying that you're willing to get off for some reason. I was just like, why you wanted to do that?
Excuse me, guys. Somebody's trying to get in, and we're full up. And
okay. Oh, that's what it was.
So I just want to say good night and thanks for inviting me.
Bye, Patrick.
Bye, Patrick.
See you, Patrick.
Catch you like the plague.
Good night.
You're up, Patrick.
So, I just got another subscriber, which means I am no longer 666 away from 23,000. Yeah, it's a shame that's over, but at the same time, I do want more subs. So
yeah,
yes. As of right now, I'm still 9 away from 300. So I mean, to the 5 people still watching us, hit that sub button.
Well, one of those is probably me.
You guys are way further
up for a while, so. Yeah.
Actually, yeah, I'm watching it on my phone, so I think 2 of them are probably me.
Oh, yeah.
You get 2 other milestones. You gotta get the 66,666, and then the 666,666 number, Kate.
Well, I suppose eventually I might get there. I don't know. I've been on YouTube for about 10 years now, and I think it's high time I got at least double what I've got right now. Because there are people who've been doing this for 2, 3, 4 years who have twice my subscriber level.
Oh, yeah.
Like, dude, I don't think I'm that horrid. What's up?
No, I think that's why I get discouraged, because there's this one guy I'm subscribed to. His name is The Raging Atheist. He's only been on here for a year, and he has over 600. Meanwhile, I've been making videos for 2 years, and I've barely reached 300.
Well, one thing I think I wish I had a really cool accent. I've said this many times. Is like accents sell on YouTube. Look at every atheist we've got. Anyone who doesn't sound American has a shit ton of subscribers.
Except me.
Yeah.
Well, okay, but you sound close enough. I mean, you've only sounded Canadian once or twice. My point is, if you sound English, if you sound Australian, if you sound Scottish, Irish, whatever, if you sound what Americans or I guess Canadians would consider cool accent-wise, you will have a shit ton, a double-wide buttload more subscribers.
I mean, we're going to be 4 years
Maybe I will
in
change
October.
my name to Fernando and talk about.
I think
Fernando de Lobster.
The cranium is actually growing lately. The last I've seen. You know, I've been talking a bunch of on the Patreon feeds to Professor Stick, and they're big, but they have YouTube like the Americans, and then of course you got Cult the Dusty, and you got TJ the Amazing Atheist. You just changed back to Amazing Atheist.
Did he?
You got Logic. You got he did. You got Logic. You got what's the
oh, your mic.
Yeah, just give me a sec.
Well,
you got
Oh, hi, Paul.
Hello.
You know, God.
Hey guys, I'm actually gonna have to get out of here. So, I just wanted to thank Atheist Ranger for having me on. It was a pleasure seeing everybody again. BionicDance, it was a pleasure to meet you. So, all right, I gotta go. See you guys.
Okay,
Have
see
fun.
you.
Try to not get burned alive by any monsters or anything.
Yes.
We make no promises here.
Paul, guys, just real quick. Paul, whenever you get your mic situation, just unmute yourself. I had to mute you because there was an echo.
Yeah.
And I think I would be a great Canadian, eh?
We take you.
Better than
what are you talking about? Anyway.
We don't say boo.
I heard you say house. When you were saying house, you said house. I heard it.
My friends in Georgia always tease me because they used to do a podcast, and the first time I came on, right before we went live, my cat caught a mouse. And I said, just a second, I have a mouse problem. I'll be right back. And they thought I meant, this thing. And I no, it was this thing with the tail. But anyway, they teased me now about having a moose in my house.
Actually, I had something kind of similar happen at an atheist convention I went to, American Atheist Convention, where a friend of mine said, "Hey, let's go and get."
Somebody's making an echo. Really,
that's Paul.
Yeah. So someone said, "Hey, Kate, you want to go get some fondue and archery?" And I was like, "Fondue and archery." Well, I said okay because those both sound like fun. But I was
some
confused.
vodka involved, sure.
All day, I'm just sitting there going, fondue and archery. I don't get it. And then, like dinner comes around, and he goes back up to me. He goes, "Hey, Kate, you ready for fondue?" I said, "Yeah, totally." And he goes, "Oh, and like I said, don't worry, our treat." Yes. And so now every year we have fondue and archery.
Nice. I'm thinking to myself, well, you could.
I was kind of hoping that story would have ended up with somebody naked and stuck with something.
You could shoot the little forks if you had a smaller bow, I guess.
Hey, Kate, can I ask you a question?
Pikachu.
I've been using Audacity for some of my audio and my film on my YouTube stuff. And I know Audacity isn't the best, and there's not a lot of really affordable soft audio for the MacBook that's out there. And I've been seeing a lot of stuff is also based. But the way my situation is right now, with my finances and stuff like that, I don't have the ability to pay for a lot of subscription-based stuff. So I need to find like a software that is downloadable or is external that you can just buy and then install the way that you used to do for audio, for like like a sound gate or something like that, to try to reduce like the ambient noise and stuff like that and beef it up, because I got a Rode NT1 microphone, which is really expensive microphone, but yeah.
Goldwave. The software you want is called Goldwave. It is one of the best sound editing programs I've ever used. Now, I can't remember off the top of my head whether it's completely free or if there's certain like features and functions that you only get if you buy it. But it's still amazing. And it has all the stuff where it can get rid of the background noise and all sorts of like, it's really good. The only thing about it, though, is, I mean, if you're going to appear on camera, well, you're going to have like one of those movie slates, if you're going to use Gold. Although if you appear on camera and you record with whatever program you're using to record like this, you can just drag and drop the video file into Goldwave, and it'll separate out the audio, and you can edit that and then put that in your editing software instead of get rid of the audio from the video file and put the Goldwave file in there instead.
Doesn't oh gosh, I forgot the name of the program. Audacity, doesn't it separate the audio out of video though?
I've never used Audacity.
It just does audio.
Yeah, Audacity is audio only. You can't do anything with video in it.
But what I was saying was with Goldwave, if you have like an AVI or an MP4 or something, just drag and drop it onto the program, and it discards the video and just lets you edit the audio.
I got one of these. Was it Focusrite 2i2 was the audio interface, so it runs through the USB and all that sort of stuff with phantom power.
I know when I download files with Real Player videos, I can then strip it out to MP3. So I don't know if you can drop it into that and then use Real Player to pull off the MP3.
Yeah, but this sort of thing is pretty easy, honestly. If you have the right program, it's a snap, which I would totally do, except you can't. Yeah. So. Yeah. And for some reason, I can't. Well, okay, I guess I can do it with this hand.
Yeah, there you go.
This hand is so much easier, except, well, yeah. So.
I thought that was a bowling glove.
No, I injured myself back on the 10th, and it's not healed yet. So,
they think it's just taking its time, or
well, honestly, they didn't tell me what it was. All they could tell me is it's not broken, but it is taking. I got to do like sort of exercises. This doesn't hurt anymore, but this does.
She needs 666 more thoughts and prayers brought to her.
Well, I did. Somebody just subscribed to me, so now it's 665, but it was 666 until a few minutes ago.
Well, it's been prophesized. So,
Yeah. A lot of prophecies don't come true, though. Actually, like 10 out of 10 don't.
Well, prophecies that quote do come true tend to be because people want them to come true and end up doing things to facilitate that.
But you gotta look at this though. Like, you gotta look at this like when you look at science, when it makes predictions, right? Most of the early predictions, they're predicted to happen in a certain amount of years, say maybe 5, 10, 15 years, and they're based off of scientific trends, and the likelihood of them happening is very, very high. And then the stuff that's way down the road is very vague, not likely to happen, but because it's so far down the road, there's a high chance of it happening because of the position where it's at. And it's like, in Christianity and Islam, those things. It's vagueness first, then however, specific, sort of elements second, like becoming a Christ. That they think that's going to happen for a fact, but the elements that lead to it is so vague,
I am so glad that you just said that, because it explains my purpose on the internet, right?
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to religion and the creationists and the atheist community and the debating and all the shit with G-Man, and I think G-Man is just a blessing, because he's just a gift that keeps on giving too, just like Von Helton.
Yes.
But however, when a lot of people, I found, and this is why I can't go into the debate community, because I'm not that kind of person, right? And some people are really good at it, like Steve McRae. I watch a lot of those sometimes. A lot of the debates are actually very good, and I watch them, but I stay out of them because I've got nothing really positive to say. But a lot of people that debate, right, and they want to have an honest debate, right, they go in thinking that the person that they're debating, that believes that the Bible is true or whatever, is thinking on the same level type, if you want to call it, the same process thinking as they are, right? And they're not, right? And watching some of these debates a lot of times, and this is why I stay out of them, and this is why I've been kicked out of a few and things like that, because I'll just be like, it's not fucking true. It's stupid, right? It's bullshit, right? And they go, well, if you're reading Timothy 1, it's like, I don't give a fuck if you're reading in the Bible. That doesn't make anything, right? And so instead of debating, which I'm not good at, I just make fun of it. And sure, at times it's sophomoric and probably not in the best shape.
There's a place for that too.
Yeah.
If they couldn't lie, they would have nothing to say.
I've got a thing about debates, a specific debate, but I don't know how much drama I want to start.
Yeah,
it is kind of there is someone currently on my shit list because I felt they were being very dishonest in a debate and they wouldn't let me clear it up. So, but I don't know how much because well, I don't know. It would, like I said, I don't want to start drama necessarily, but at the same time, I want to vent. So
I vent in a very creative way that, and
everybody knows how I feel about G-Man here.
Paul, I haven't had a chance to talk to you since that fucking hangout. Thank you so much. You've been involved. You're actually in a couple of my videos that I did. When you're going, it's like
I tore into them.
Oh, some of it was fun. Some of it I was like, oh, come on, Paul. Jeez, come on, get a break. I mean, not really, but it's just, you were going, you're retarded. You're stupid. Then get the fuck out and all that shit. So I would really like to. We've had our differences, Paul, but I would actually genuinely like to thank you for your contribution to that because,
Yeah,
but I told you before you brought him in. Sorry.
I haven't dealt with G-Man in a really long time. There was one hangout I was on, and he was there, and a bunch of us were basically stomping him into the ground, except he was declaring victory the whole time.
Well, that's what it was.
But I've gone to his channel because I was like tempted to reply to something he'd said, but it's all these like hours long streams that he does where it's like, and half the time he's not even on camera. I'm sitting there going, there's nothing to reply to here.
Have you seen Dragnot's video that he does a parody of G-Man?
No.
Holy shit, you gotta go to his fucking channel. Dragnot's funny. He's a smart guy. But he showed a side of him that I'm like, thumbs up to you, dude. He was doing G-Man impersonations. I mean, he was G-Man in the video, right?
Right.
But those two have been at it for a long time.
Well, that's the thing. G-Man for a while, like a couple of years ago, was obsessed with me. Like he was trying to get me to do responses and debates with him constantly. Like several times a week, I'd get something. Like he'd be on one of my videos or he'd send me a private message. Got to a point where I stopped acknowledging his existence completely. And he got to where he was like, "Hey, where'd you go? Why aren't you talking to me?" And I refused to answer him. And he lost his shit so hard because he wanted to like
well,
interact with me. It was a better way to troll
if he couldn't
him than
have
actually
Shanny for
trolling
Christ,
him.
he was going to have you.
Like giving him no attention whatsoever was the best way to troll him. Because he did it to himself. I didn't even have to do anything.
But it's entertaining as fuck.
Go ahead, Paul.
I've got a Muslim stalker like that right now. Who's like, sorry, Paul.
No problem. No, so Lobster, you said you did some videos with that?
Yeah.
Okay,
it was the part where I was asking him because I was asked because when he said when he was in that hangout with Aaron Ra, and he said only women should have long hair. I was just asking him if he could elaborate on that a little bit, about why shouldn't I be able to have long hair? And he said, my biggest need was to find Jesus, and I told him that I had, I have Lemmy, and he mispronounced Lemmy and thought I said Lenny, and I started yelling, "No, Lemmy, Lemmy!"
That was so funny.
So I did a video about that, right? Put a little bit of Motorhead into it like that, and had fun with it, because
if he says that only women should have long hair, how many times do we see Jesus pictures where he's rocking the locks? What are you gonna do?
Well, no, the funny thing is, Kate, I think one of his closest allies on YouTube is true empiricism, and every time we see him, he has long hair. And by the way, to anyone who also furthermore, I think it was either last month or my last subscriber hangout that I had, which was last month. G-Man actually did show up.
That was two ago because I couldn't make last month, but I was there for that because remember he kept saying he thought he could bring me to Jesus.
Yeah, it was 2 months ago.
Well, that wasn't a religious thing. He was just trying to get with you. You know what I'm saying? He wanted you to be a sister in Christ. Like him and Shanny like to talk.
I hope not, because like I said, I already got a Muslim stalker that shows up like every 3-4 weeks to chat me up.
Have you guys ever thought about using this book on Gmail?
Can't see it.
Can't see
Manual for creating. Is that the Peter Boghossian book?
Street epistemology.
Yeah. I don't think G-Man would take to street epistemology because he'd actually have to answer questions.
Yeah, he doesn't do that very well. He has a tendency
to all you atheists are liars. You're liars. That's what you do.
Mm-hmm.
You're the devil.
He is the king of the Gish Gallop, to say the least.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Hey, have y'all seen a doll become a non-doll?
Yeah.
Hey, I didn't get a chance to see it, and I have to watch this because I've heard about it on Facebook. Apparently, somebody in the Non Sequitur show that was talking to King Crocoduck claimed that King Crocoduck actually thought that crocodiles...
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And people are like going on in the chat about it, and I'm like, why the fuck are you surprised that this dickhead fucking thinks like this?
It's not that I don't think it's that people are surprised per se.
It's when they say it, actually.
Yeah, it's like when you actually hear the words spoken out loud in a serious manner that you're like, how the fuck could this actually happen? Like, how could you intellectually that they think stupid things like that.
Yeah.
But to think that they would actually say it out loud and expect people to take them seriously, I think is what can be a little shocking.
I think a lot of times they say stuff like that just for shock value, just to cause a stir. It's like they're a little bit of trolling for the
but a lot of them really believe that shit.
Yeah.
Some do.
Yeah, just to clarify for the audience, for the people watching, King Crocoduck did a debate with, I forget who it was, But apparently, this man thinks that King Crocodile believes that over time, crocodiles can become ducks.
Yes.
Wait,
Dude,
you're saying they can't? My
the
world is
person-
shaken to its foundations.
I know.
The first person who
I have transformed into Gumby one night.
yeah.
I had a Gumby suit. And, you know.
Hey, look, I'm a Pokemon. Pokemon evolve like just out of thin air.
You could transform into a white guy to a taller white guy.
Can I transform into a tall, skinny person? That'd be cool.
What's actually
transforming into Justin Bieber.
Yeah, what's actually funny about Pokemon is there's some hypothesis about that they say in there that that humans actually evolved from humans had common ancestry with Pokemon in the series, which was pretty fucking cool. I wish that was
Still
real.
makes
I
more
wish
sense
Pokemon
than the Bible.
Yes. In case anybody wants to know, it was King Crocoduck versus George Lujack, Duke of Face Pomalot.
George is hopeless.
I have no idea who that guy is, but that's a hell of a name.
He's kind of like Rory Montero rolled in with Ken Ham and something like that. If you remember Rory Montero.
No, but when you say Ken Ham, that's a face palm inducer right there.
Speaking of facepalm, did everyone see? I think it was Skylar's interview with Matt Powell.
No,
we are talking to him about that on the show Monday night.
What happened? Never mind. Matt Powell is some 22-year-old preacher.
Oh, that guy.
Oh, the
that guy.
He should be executed.
He's the new bad guy.
But humanely executed by the government.
Exactly.
Oh, for crying out loud! Look at the chat.
Oh no!
Oh no! Who's in the chat?
Some dude says, "What is it? Kablam Bandicoot is a nigger and lives in Kentucky, and he's typing raping babies is fun." So I'm thinking someone needs kicking.
Yeah, just a little.
God, give me 1 second. I'll mute. You all can talk.
No problem.
We have permission.
Yay!
I'm sure if somebody was to message me or somebody at Sector Lobster Ministries, Clam Shack, Chili House, House of Reprobation, and Land of Wolves, we will actually look into that. We have friends. Just saying.
I have no idea what you just said, but okay.
Well, no, I'm sorry. I'm the Lobster. I represent Secular Lobster Ministries, Clam Shack, Chili House, House of Lowes, Land of Reprobation, and advocate for victims of the Mandela effect.
I see. Well, I'm like, when I'm not doing YouTube for work, I'm a confidential coordinating first chief executive deputy assistant.
Absolutely.
There you go.
I understand.
Look, another one.
Things I say don't have to make sense. Paul, Heavy, you know me, huh?
Yeah. Actually, if you really look at it and remember your Old Testament history, like that, that preacher, the young guy, and a lot of these other ones, they're just doing their biblical duty, and they're doing what the Bible says. The Old Testament says that gays and hard-headed kids and people that work on the Sabbath, should be killed. I mean, this is what they're biblically correct. I mean, hey,
things that I watch a lot of.
Picking up sticks on the Sabbath warrants death. Who the hell thought that up?
Actually, I was watching videos yesterday. Okay, I have a lot of time on my hands at times. For those of you who don't know, they actually have electric devices, ovens, and other appliances available to Jewish people who don't want to go against the Sabbath. They're there's ovens, there's all sorts of appliances, all sorts of things that you can get around right?
Yeah.
So you don't disobey.
I remember in the movie Religulous where he went to the factory in Israel where their whole thing was creating things to get around the Passover and Sabbath law.
Yeah, it was like with one of these,
like letter versus spirit was a thing God would care about.
Yeah,
you think?
Well, one thing besides appliances, and why would God give a shit? But the one thing that, and we can go back. I'd really like to go back to this because I've never, ever in my life, ever understood why this is so fucking important of all the things in the world. But of all the things that are abominations, of all the things that are evil, right, in this world, whether it's touching yourself, having sex with a saint, because why would God give a shit if two guys are fucking each other? Doesn't he have other things to do, right?
You'd think.
Well, there's
why
a
does
song
God
by
give a
this one
shit?
guy.
Yeah, why does God give a shit if you spank one off,
There's a song by a guy. It's called From God's Perspective, and at one point he's like, "I don't mind if you eat ham, because why the fuck would I give a shit? I'm running the universe. You think I'm gonna draw the line at the fucking deli aisle?" Is part of the song.
I know that.
Somebody
that brought
always.
But they say it's like the sanctity of like sex is just for procreation and shit, right? And that's not true. But and why? You know what I mean? It's like, why would he give a shit, right? Why of all the things, right? Are these like top on his list?
Well, I mean, when you look at the 10 Commandments, like the first 3 are don't hurt God's feelings.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
You know what the funny thing I was going to talk about? I was going to talk about what Kate was saying. Here's the other thing. I like to say this with about with Christians. The thing is, you write capital G with an O and a D. If you look at the dictionaries outside of Webster's and outside the American dictionaries, guess what? That's grammatically incorrect. Because
the Jews I see G-D.
Yeah,
no, because it's not,
they
because
don't want
it's a title word.
They don't want to write God's name because they might offend him if they do. I'm like,
it's like we were talking earlier about the life of Brian, where the guy's like, and as a blasphemer, you shall be put to death. He's like, I don't think it should be a crime. Just saying Jehovah.
Right? Going back to the Monty Python film.
God
loves going back to the Monty Python film. Yeah, going back to the Monty Python film in Life of Brian, where the guy was being stoned for saying Jehovah, and he was sitting there saying, "Why do why does it care if we say Jehovah?" And then the funny part I remember was he's like Jehovah, and then the priest was like, "Quit saying Jehovah," and then the guy's like,
they
stoned him, and then they ended up stoning the priest.
I was like, no one shall stone anyone until I blow this whistle. Even, and I want to make this absolutely clear. Even if I do say Jehovah. Yeah.
And somebody brought up something in regards to the whole pig thing. So God outlaws eating pork, right? And then we have Noah and the flood. Why the fuck did anybody put pigs on the ark then?
Well, one thing I heard, actually, the origin of not eating pork was something like, at the time, pigs carried a lot of disease and would kill you.
And I've heard that. I've heard that too.
But
then again, okay, so why is God making a creature that's really tasty but full of diseases? And 2, why the fuck did you put it on the ark if it's full of diseases? Let it die out
on the earth. I mean, there's all these things on the earth that can kill you. And yet it's like, oh yeah, you guys ate an apple, go out here and die.
In defense of pigs, for years, the one reason why pigs are by nature very clean animals, right?
Yes.
But they would put pigs in areas and feed them scraps and just whatever the fuck. Leave them alone in the mud and everything like that.
Yeah.
So for years, right? I remember as a kid. I mean, whose grandmother still fucking burnt the shit out of a fucking pork chop? Because you had to be all the way cooked, or else you can get sick from it. You know. It was up. You know, I remember that in the '60s. You know, I never had a good pork chop till I left home. You know, but. You know,
yeah, well, I mean,
but back then, you know, people would feed pigs. They call it pig slop, the pig pen, right? They would just leave them back there and throw them slop, right? Whatever the fuck it was, and they would carry diseases sometimes. So you had to cook the meat more thorough than you would say beef necessarily, or chicken even. Which who likes raw chicken? But
well, one thing about pork and ham and all that, unfortunately, it's now a seizure trigger for my epilepsy. The nitrates in pork. So I haven't had bacon in almost a decade, and I'm really sad. So yeah, and now I want a ham sandwich too. I miss ham sandwiches. I'm sad now.
But can I digress? Let me do a quick digress. You were talking about how Jews get around things.
Yes.
Because we would one of the biggest dropouts going to any atheist group is Catholics and Jews, you know, percentage wise. Anyway, and I learned a lot of stuff from those guys because they said, you know, when the Sabbath you can't go outside. So what they do to get around that is they'll put a rope, a chain, or whatever around the whole neighborhood.
Yep.
So when you go outside, you're still inside the chain.
It's just so idiotic.
They say you can't do anything on the Sabbath. You can't even, like, there was some elements where you couldn't even wipe your ass on the Sabbath.
The whole
it's a physical
it was something like
the whole rope thing is because they're not allowed to carry anything from your private space to public space. So like they can't even, like, if they're allowed to drive, they're not allowed to carry their car keys out to the car. So they put a string around everything that makes it private space. So they're allowed to carry stuff. I was just this morning reading an article. I forget where it was, but the area that I think it was Toronto area or somewhere around here, there was a beach in the area, and this Jewish community in some condos near the beach wanted to put a bunch of poles around this beach area to put their string on so it would encompass their condo building and whatever.
Okay,
and
hold on. I'm confused by something. Why would they put up a bunch of Polish people? That doesn't make any sense.
They're cheap labor.
We're getting ethnic now, are we? Oh my God.
Actually, some Jews will employ non-Jews to do stuff for them on the Sabbath. So if they have a neighbor who's a goyim, they'll pay them to come over and like turn on their oven or turn out their lights at bedtime or some shit like that. They told
why would a god even command this shit anyway? It makes no sense at all.
I don't know. It's fucking stupid. It's really fucking stupid.
You know what doesn't even make any more sense than that neither is that wouldn't the Bible also be against, like, you know, having somebody else work for you on the same day?
You would think. You would think. Because the guy picking up sticks.
You make those arrangements before the Sabbath.
That's called being a job creator.
Yeah. But the guy in the Bible who was picking up sticks, does it actually say he was Jewish? I don't think so.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, he was just some random dude picking up sticks on the Sabbath, and they stoned his ass. So how is it acceptable to have your neighbor come over and turn on your oven for you when it's not?
God's sakes, tell your kids not to make fun of old people, or bears will fucking eat them.
Yeah.
Well, wait.
You
can make fun of as many old people as you want, but if they're bald, oh no,
you're fucked.
You're gonna have two she bears coming after you. You have 40 she bears coming after you.
case in point, if you're gonna make fun of a bald person, make sure you got some bear spray on you and a gun, preferably.
Yeah.
A big gun.
That or make sure you have a very big picnic basket.
Yeah.
I vote for picnic.
You've got a pork chop in your pocket to throw down.
One of the things. Yeah, that's one of the things that if the children that were in the story, if it was true, if they had an actual what was it, Barrett, M107, they would have actually killed the what was it, the 40 or the what was it, the 2 she bears or something like that. They would have actually killed them.
Well, because they were.
And then God wouldn't be able to do anything. Huh?
They were lesbian bears, so they deserved to die.
Oh, that's it.
Well, I've often said that if I had access to a working time machine, I would get like a SWAT team or a SEAL team together and go rescue Jesus. Right? You're not going to be a martyr on my watch. Fuck you. There will be none of that shit.
I've seen a comic of that, and it was the Terminator who had thrown this over his shoulder, was like, no, you're not allowed to die, dude. We're going back.
Although one thing I realized a while back is that if, suppose someone actually has built a time machine and used it and we don't know about it, they're dead right now. Because here's the Earth, here's them on the Earth. I'm going to go 200 years in the future. Well, the Earth is over here now and they're in deep space.
Oh, good
right?
point.
Oh, yeah.
I'm actually thinking
think about it, though. Time travel might be an interesting way to travel the universe, where it's like, okay, Earth is here, but another planet will be here either in the past or in the future. So I'm going to be like here and let the planet get near me. And of course, you'll have to have some sort of drive to get there because it won't be right exactly the same spot. But I think that would be a really cool method of interstellar travel, is time travel as warp speed, basically. Let the universe come to you.
Yeah, actually, it was something I wanted to get back to. Dark Matter 2525. I remember he put out a video talking about the same thing that you guys are talking about, where you go back in time, you save Jesus Christ or whatever. Well, in his video, I think you guys probably remember, Jeffrey went back and he went to the future and he took a Christian and said, look, you're so much for Jesus, this, that, and the third. And they said, let's go save him and let's go do this. And they brought him back to the past. And as soon as they tried to save Jesus by stopping him in his or whatever, takes and then Jesus dies and then comes back.
Oh yeah, I saw that one.
It's just the whole idea that Jesus actually died and sacrificed anything, because he knew he was coming back. So what the hell kind of sacrifice is that anyway?
Well, I mean, he did have that sort of BDSM session that got out. He had the BDSM session that got out of hand. I mean,
but for all we know, he enjoyed it.
Yeah, well,
he had to sleep it off for a couple of days. What the fuck?
Yeah.
He got up a little early and tried to find a Denny's that was open, And next thing you know, people are wondering where the fuck he's at, right?
Yeah.
He wanted to go to fucking Denny's and get me a fucking breakfast, man. One of them Grand Slam breakfasts they always have on coupon, because it is Sunday,
You want to go find the Shoney's, but the Shoney's were all closed.
Shoney's deserve to fucking close. If you ever went, god damn.
No, we never heard of Shoney's.
Shoney's, oh my god.
I've heard of them, but we don't have them here.
Yeah, I don't think they're really anywhere anymore.
We only have Denny's in the bigger cities.
What about IHOP? You have IHOP?
Maybe in Toronto area, but
we've got a lot of little places that are open for breakfast and lunch from 5 in the morning to 1 in the afternoon and serve very inexpensive, good fucking breakfast.
I like that. See, I live as 250,000 people, and we're not big enough to have Denny's. We don't have that.
Well, we got a Denny's out in Smithfield. It's only about 5 miles away.
Just talking about Jesus. I think Jesus, if he was real and then died and then went to the future and then came back, in the past again, he would have said, come, and he would have came to the future. He would have saw Chick-fil-A, and he would have said, oh, motherfuckers are so against everybody who's for everything I said, you know.
Chicken sandwich.
Well, you know,
We all know that if Jesus actually came back to America, they would put him in a cage and kick him out lickety split anyway. Because he's a brown dude from the Middle East. Like, come on.
Exactly.
He's so out of there.
I've watched videos of people arguing that Jesus did have blonde hair and blue eye, kind of an Aryan.
Oh God!
You know, and tried to use like DNA genetics. Like it's kind of like talking to flat earthers and shit. You know, it's
Yeah.
shit, you know.
I mean,
But,
you know what? I got one even better. I think if Jesus did come back, he would look straight at G-Man, clap his hands, and say, "I'm out."
Yeah.
there's a backstory on when that boy can't get no woman.
There's a lot of YouTubers, I think, that Jesus would just go, "The fuck are you?" and be like, "I'm out of here."
No,
you know
what?
I'm not good at
something.
I'm not. Oh, I'm sorry.
I have something even funnier. That I think it would be awesome if Jesus would like appear in one of G-Man's live streams, and he says, "Excuse me, sir, but you know nothing of my work."
If Jesus showed up and he said, "Boy, go stack them barrels over there," you would have had to watch the Dragnet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
Jesus. I think if Jesus came back, he'd be the one who's sitting over in San Francisco, you know, who's smoking the marijuana, saying this, and he would have been the one saying, "Why are all these goddamn GOP Republicans sitting there saying that we can't smoke weed?"
Speaking of weed, it's going to be legal nationwide in October.
And not in this fucking state. You're still worried about the kids. Marijuana.
Nationwide in Canada, every province is allowed to suss out how it wants to deal with it on their own, but it has to be legal by October 17th, I believe, is the date.
2 years ago, they legalized recreational marijuana in the state of Massachusetts, just a half an hour up the street. They have yet, and they're putting another moratorium on the whole thing about pot dispensaries, where you can buy recreational pot. You can grow it, but you still can't buy it recreationally, right? You have to have a medical card to go to any of the pot stores, which is fucking legal.
Well,
you know,
there's a lot of doctors out there now where they go, "Oh, you feel a little bit iffy?
Yeah, well, you
here's
know,
your pot card."
Yeah, totally.
The fixed income, you know, and besides pot, there are things more important in my life right now that actually becoming legal because I got the best weed guy around anyway. But
Denver.
Wait a minute. I just had a weird idea. Okay, right now I'm basically on government insurance when it comes to medicine. And I mean, I get all my prescriptions because I got them for epilepsy and now for this totally free. Now, if I go to one of those pot doctors who's like, "Oh, yeah, here's your prescription for weed," I wonder if I could just get it for free that way.
Some areas, some states actually will give discounts on that. I know in the state of Oregon, if you're a vet, man, you can get your pot card for like $10. I moved from Oregon 1 year to the day.
Do with it?
Huh?
What does being an animal doctor have to do with it?
Yeah.
Nah.
I get that because we don't use the term vet for veteran like we say veteran. So up here, a vet is always an animal doctor. So when I'm talking to Americans, they're like, blah, 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 vet. And I'm like, what is animals? Oh, veteran. Okay.
Well, I mean, I live really close to a naval base, so I hear vet all the time. So, yeah.
Oh, we have a Vietnam veteran in the house.
I'm not a Vietnam vet.
Who?
Cold War. You know,
Cold War.
Oh.
The man that claimed that he's the reason we're not speaking Russian today.
Yeah. Yes, very, very nice, Paul. Actually, as I said before, my grandfather was actually in the Vietnam War. He was Air Force.
Yeah, that's what I was. I loaded B-52s with bombs.
Nice. So did he, actually.
So I was
got
stationed
loaded
in
a lot in the
Thailand.
bars of Germany.
You know, it's funny. When I flew into Thailand, we flew over South Vietnam on the airplane. We got that month free taxes. Big deal. Free taxes for 1 month.
Yeah.
I don't think any country really treats their veterans.
Oh no. So I'm treating them
Like
real good.
we're totally shitty about that too. It's
No.
maybe not as bad as you guys, but bad enough.
Yeah, but my stepmother, her father was in the underground, and he was tortured in the Gestapos and shit like that.
Oh wow!
Died later on from it, but her mother was well taken care of. Some countries do take better care of their vets. We are crap.
I got a friend who was in I think it was in Iraq. I'm not sure, but he's trying to get government insurance because he might now be getting MS, and they're making him explain exactly why he deserves medical treatment, where he's like, well, I have to relive every moment where it's like my friends were in a truck ahead of me, they hit an IED, and now I have to watch all my friends die and stuff like that. And he's just like, I have to go over every trauma from being in battle before they give me insurance. And it's like, wow.
But that has nothing to do with MS, though.
Apparently, he has to prove that he deserves his medical treatment.
He went and fucking fought. Like that. That should be it. Like, end of story. You know, here's my service record. That should be it. End of story. You know, like
I can go to the VA, but I haven't done that.
I don't know if they're all that great, but sorry.
Well, see, I'm ex-Fed, so I pay for insurance as if I was still working. So I pay about a third of the cost of my Fed. My medical.
No, I have a friend of mine a couple of years ago. He's a veteran, and he had a cut on his finger that wasn't healing properly, and he went to the VA like 3 or 4 times, and they kept giving him different antibiotics and topical stuff and that sort of thing. Turns out he had cancer. And they didn't catch it until his wife got him on her insurance, and he actually lost a third of his finger. And it could, he's just lucky it didn't spread anywhere. But he had gone to the VA like 5 or 6 times for the same issue, and they never once even considered that it could be cancer.
Unfortunately, something like a story, and I'm not saying that's. My heart goes out to that person, but the same exact thing can happen at a non-VA hospital. I've been, just because you have a medical degree and you're a doctor, not everybody got an A in class. Okay.
Did you see the thing from Neil deGrasse Tyson did a thing with that? He says our dropouts become medical doctors.
Yeah, but I've been getting my care. I mean, the VA healthcare system is pretty much about 80% of the reason I'm still able to do what I do, stuff like that.
Fair enough.
And it's not the perfect system, right? Yeah. I have, and I understand in some cities, it like Phoenix, it was notoriously bad for things like that. But I have never been treated better at a civilian hospital than I have. I mean, whether I'm in the psychiatric ward, which people that know me know I've been there a few times, not just saying, or visiting my doctor. Our VA is also a teaching hospital, so we have residents coming through. The doctor I had in the last 5 years, probably, who gone on now he's going to be a kidney doctor, was the kind of doctor that would sit down and get to know me, my habits, things like that. Especially, being a teaching hospital. There's a time after he talks to me, he's got to go talk to his superior, and then there's got to be a thing.
Yeah, quarantine facilities tend to be a bit better.
You know,
sure.
yeah. Well, they don't always have the same. Some of the newer hospitals do. In Rhode Island, I mean, they're rebuilding. They keep building more on the one they have here, but it's a giant system. And in every giant system like that, there's going to be issues. There's going to be problems, right?
Well, I mean, people bitch about our healthcare. It's like, oh my God, you have to wait for stuff. I'm like, I'm sorry. I'd rather wait and know that I'm not going to go bankrupt when I'm sick.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, without the VA, I literally couldn't afford any type of insurance, you know?
Oh, for sure.
Me or my wife.
That's,
you know, we beat like,
that's the
literally
conservative. Yeah. Down here in Louisiana, that's the conservative complaint about, you know, the Canadian healthcare system. But my thing is, you know, I'm wondering if one of the reasons to why so much of the lines are so long is because maybe, you know, some of the people from like Detroit are actually getting doctors over in Ontario instead of actually getting them in Detroit because of the fuck
it's
you know,
actually
here in the States.
we have a shortage of specialists right now, and that's causing most of the waiting issues, and that stems from issues way back to when we first started with social health care. One of the things that they did was they used to let the doctors bill the patients as well as bill the government for payment. And so a lot of doctors made a good shit ton of money on that. And after a while, they realized that that was still bankrupting patients because doctors were billing the shit out of patients and the system. So anyway, the government came and said, doctors can no longer bill patients as well as the government. And so they weren't making as much money. And a lot of doctors in the last 30 years had slowly started bleeding down to the US because they could charge a lot more than what they can here. So it has created a shortage of doctors. But I think if we can encourage more new doctors to stay here and be specialists, it'll go a lot longer to that. Like it'll get rid of the problem.
Yeah.
Look, we have somebody in the chat there, folks.
Yes, we do.
Another one. Well, I gotta end the broadcast anyway because it's 11:30 where I'm at, and I have to get up at 7:30 for work. And you know what?
No 4-letter dirty words.
And you know, it's funny that we were just talking about healthcare as the final thing, because that's actually why the reason I'm going bankrupt is because of a medical debt.
Yes, exactly, and an older one too, if I recall, right?
Yes. But before I end the broadcast, as always, I'm gonna go to my left. I'm gonna let everyone either plug either their channel or someone else's channel. Starting with, let's see here, Patrick.
Lobster, Secular Lobster Ministries, Clam Shack, Chili House, Land of Lulls, and House of Reprobation.
Yes, awesome. And of course, everyone's favorite Canadian, Heretic, you're next.
Thank you. Beyond the Trailer Park, Monday nights at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on YouTube and Spreaker, and Full Quranic. So I'm Read the Quran, so you don't have to, and you can find that at fullquranic.com. And in about 25 minutes, I will be appearing on Holy Crap, the vlogcast, also on YouTube. Go check it out.
Alrighty. Well, everyone already know who Kate is, but go ahead, Kate.
Right. Well, subscribe to my channel, BionicDance, or I will come over there and give you a severe, and I mean severe, talking to. I debunk religious videos whenever I feel like it, usually 2 to 3 a week, so you won't be bored.
And she does a good job.
Yes, she does. Paul, go ahead.
Just don't bring G-Man on.
Okay. There we go. Pikachu, go ahead.
Yeah, I do a lot of like debunking videos sometimes, just like BionicDance, and I did some some Christian roast type videos at times, kind of like almost like Leafy's here for a little while, but against Christianity and cult the Dusty and them. But then people started saying maybe you should get back and be more mellow and stuff like that, and then I started saying maybe I do that, and then
fuck them, yell a lot.
I've been doing a lot of trying to get back into just regular debunking and stuff like that. My last video, as I said, yeah, it does have to do with a Christian, but again, it's a little bit political. It is debunking some political misconceptions that the right wing has with the left and all this sort of stuff, because there's a lot of things that I hate that the right wing says about the left because they don't know a goddamn thing about the left. They always say that the left is communist, but they don't ever fucking explain what's right of them because they don't have any clue what's right of them. So I like to always try to point that out and just say, like, if you're right wing, you should be able to explain what's right of you. If you consider yourself centrist, conservative, whatever, you should be able to explain what's right of you and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I do some debunking videos on my channel, like Pikachu the Atheist and stuff like that is my name. And you can check it out. I just changed all my I didn't change all of my thumbnails, but I started getting used to using GIMP, which is supposed to be a whole lot better thumbnail program than what I was using before. It gets a lot more professional thumbnails and stuff like that. So I think you guys should go check it out if you can get the chance to. I'd like to pass it on to the next person, though.
All right.
Thank
you. Prometheus?
Yeah, I'm Prometheus the Prophet. I do anti-theist content, mostly targeting cultural Christianity, or as they call it, Christian atheism, where atheists are actually arguing for an establishment of the Christian faith. I'm also branching out into politics.
Oh, that's good. That's another thing I'm trying to do.
And of course, I'm your host, Atheist Ranger. As I said earlier, I'm just 9 subs away from 300, so click that subscriber button. As much as I like my channel small, I also want to get up there a little bit. Anyway, you all have a good night and have a good rest of your night.
Catch you like the plague.